just in terms of they were all on the same page. They knew exactly what they wanted to do. Their picks were fantastic. They had good lanes, and they kind of just steamrolled. It was, what, 21 minutes?
It was a
I think the
21-minute
game,
victory, yeah.
and then it was just over. So compLexity definitely doing their homework here. They're going to start things off with Gyrocopter. This is, of course, he plays this hero a heck of a lot. It's in his top 3 in terms of most comfortable heroes, I guess, or most picked. And I'm looking at the bans now, and I'm thinking, like, Queen of Pain, also another Ziz hero, could also be Swindle that plays that, and then Lesh. But these are pretty much all kind of like chalk bans, you know? Like 3 of the 4, I think you could just say, they've been seen almost every single game, at least that you and I have had the opportunity to cast together. And MVP is starting things off with a Naga Siren and a Dazzle. Very common pairing that we see. The Ensnare plus the heal combo from Dazzle is always very strong. Not entirely sure if it's going to be a core or not. You can always transition into a position 4 or maybe even 5 Naga if you think that it's going to be good. But I think it's a really strong pick just because if you want to put it into the carry role, the enemy team has to always respect that possibility, right?
Yeah.
Like now they need to find ways of dealing with Naga Siren if it's going to be a position 1. And if there's too much to deal with it, then all of a sudden you can just say, whatever, we'll just transition it to support.
And of course we did, it was indeed in the series yesterday where we saw KP play the Naga against Archon.
Yes.
In a game where at the start, he was pretty much heavily punished. I think he died
got
about
wrecked
4 times in the first 10 minutes. Archon were up to about a 10k gold and experience lead pretty early on. But there was a point where a team makes one mess up against you, and KP was able to keep his farm up. He got not the best timing on the Radiance. It was around a 20-minute or so. But after that, he just kind of spiraled out of control. And, well, we were talking about this actually before the draft started. compLexity, Dragon Knight, the second hero most successful with at the moment is 6.84. 5 wins and 1 loss on this man. I mean, the DK, there are definitely certain teams that seem to favor him. Not everyone seems to like a bit of the old Dragon Knight. What do you reckon about the hero?
So if I'm looking at the bans, I see SF, Lesh, Queen, all banned, right? And they take out Viper. So the position in which they pick the DK is also equally important as to the pick itself, because they've actually just taken out 4 heroes that can kind of run over DK in lane. The hero left that I think is maybe the most prevalent when I'm thinking about a DK matchup mid is maybe something like Storm, just to give you a little bit of reach and map control. And plus, everybody can farm against Dragon Knight. It's not really that hard. I mean, you could go the path of like Zeus, for example, and he also does okay. But Storm is one of those heroes that has like a more threatening mid-game transition where he just can go for ganks and he can stop your momentum. You know, he's a stifling hero to play against if he gets a good laning phase. So compLexity, they've already set themselves up to have DK in middle lane with a pretty good opportunity to get farm. And I think that's really important when you're up against a hero like Naga. And I also mentioned that you want to address the Naga pick as if it were to be played as a position 1.
Yeah.
And this is a good way to do it by just saying, we're going to push. And we're going to make sure that you're not going to have the map control that you're looking for. Now, ideally, you would be able to get your hands on something like Dazzle with compLexity's lineup because you want sustain now. If you want to keep pushing this out, you absolutely need to sustain. And Razor is just another ode to making sure that Dragon Knight can have a good lane.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, one of those heroes that isn't great for DK to lane against. 4th ban now for the side of MVP.Phoenix. I mean, you're talking about compLexity looking at heroes that are going to enable for the early push and heroes that are going to be able to deal with this Naga strategy. Who are MVP going to want to take away from compLexity?
Well, it's kind of hard to say right now. I mean, Naga Siren, there are heroes like Shaker who can be pretty annoying because you can still be able to fissure depending on where you're standing. Like if Naga Siren Song is out and you're trying to TP. I think compLexity, they're going to be looking also potentially for other Siege heroes. So they're most likely going to need a mech carrier at some point, which is probably why they just took out the Darkseer. Very common offlane hero that we see who goes for the mech relatively early on, and then you have a DK for pushing potential, and Gyrocopter's teamfight is also great. Clock, another very common hero that we see that does well against Naga Siren. If you go in there with the battery assault and she's in cogs, she cannot TP, even if she has Song on, right? Because the battery assault still goes, even if you're sleeping.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, with the ultimate as well, the fact that you've got that initiation range that's bigger than the AoE of Song, so you can cancel any TP with that as well. Tusk, a hero that sometimes get a little bit surprising that he gets this far through the draft, and Phoenix they're going to take the most of that and pick that up, and we can almost certainly probably expect to see that on the off lane, of course, for the side. And again, Tusk Dazzle as well. It's that combination that we know is incredibly strong, and the amount of physical damage, which especially is going to be very nice if we see Dazzle maybe even make early rotations towards that top lane to try and crush the Gyrocopter's farm.
They could do that. It's tough, though. I mean, they can even kill DK
with
that combo, depending on who they want to put mid. But right now, compLexity, What are they going to pick for supports? I mean, there's really a lot of options. I personally like Wyvern against this lineup.
Yeah.
Like, whenever you have
Wyvern.
Tusk, that hero is great, because Cold Embrace, it just means the Tusk combination isn't going to be as strong. And then you also have things that can punish really hard. So when he goes in, if there's multiple heroes, you can throw out a curse. You have good lane presence. I mean, if it's going to be Tusk off lane, Winter Wyvern can zone that hero. And yeah, okay, there it is.
There we go, Andy.
Yeah.
That's what we have here as an analyst. Bang on.
Yeah,
bang on.
I really like that hero with these types of matchups, because they did need sustain as well.
Yeah.
Like, if they're not going to be able to get their hands on something like Dazzle, they need another hero who can keep the push going just by virtue of being able to heal. So I like that quite a bit. And for MVP, I was thinking TA as well, because TA, QO played a phenomenal Templar Assassin up against Archon.
Yeah,
Right,
I'd
so-
like to see the QOTA, definitely. I mean, how does it kind of fare in lane at the start against DK?
Oh,
As you said,
it's
you
good
still get your
against
farm.
DK,
You
yeah.
find your farm. DK's not going to be able to stop that. And as
I
you said,
believe...
nice with Dazzle. I mean, as soon as that weave starts to tick down, you've got to blink. You're just chasing down the team, and complexity, they're trying to get the hell out, and one meld strike, and you're two-hitting some of these heroes early on.
Yeah, and the other thing that's really nice about TA is that she matches up very well against Gyrocopter in terms of like a late game scenario. Gyro is more of like a spread damage carry, right? You're relying on flak, you're relying on cooldown to deal the majority of your DPS during a fight, whereas TA specializes in just blowing somebody up. Like, you just kill them at the start of the fight, so. Oh, they're actually going to go with the Lina mid. Okay. That's one hero who I kind of overlooked, actually, during this draft, because there's so many mids, right? Like,
There's a lot of them
sometimes
in
you
this
forget
matchup,
about
yeah.
one and they sneak up on you, but Lina is definitely very solid in matchup against Dragon Knight, and a hero that I think they might struggle a tiny bit with. We could be seeing some support rotations towards mid from the side of complexity, just to make sure that DK doesn't get totally shut down. But the one thing that's nice about DK is it's similar to Magnus in that you kind of just need to get to your bottle, and then you just spam out the wave. Like, you don't need to go into melee for CS like every single time, as long as your bottle timing is pretty decent. So.
And of course, Selena fairly nice against the Winter Wyvern, in the sense that Cold Embrace is not going to save your heroes every time with the amount of magical and nuke damage Lena's got.
Yeah, the combination of damage that MVP have right now is still, it's a lot of physical damage, right? So Dazzle and Tusk, the Tusk punch actually becomes more of an issue during the later stages of the game. Wow, okay, Nature's Prophet.
Well, it's one of the heroes that complexity seems to have a bit of a favor for.
Is this the first Nature's Prophet pick?
This that we've seen over these 2 days?
I think it
I think
is,
so.
right?
I'd imagine so. I don't think saw anyone pick it up yesterday, yeah. I mean, at the moment, 6.84, 3 wins on the hero, and no losses. So 100% win rate, technically. Obviously, it's not the biggest pool to go by, but we'll see if complexity are able to keep that going in this match. And Nature's Prophet, why up against a Naga lineup? What's the thought here?
Well, I mean, it's another hero that can push. If you look at MVP's team right now, they actually don't have a very good team for catching out rats until Lina gets, like, maybe like Shadowblade Yules or something like that, or the Tusk gets a Shadowblade himself. So hunting the Nature's Prophet becomes very difficult for MVP if complexities start to get ahead. Like, say they use their first 2 or 3 Elder Dragon forms and they kill a couple of towers, before MVP really have any method of initiating on that Prophet, it's actually going to become a huge nuisance for them. The one downside to picking Nature's Prophet is obvious, like, he can teleport to a lane to try to help, but I think that MVP have the better early killing potential between their heroes. So I think complexity are going to be looking to just kind of stagnate lanes a bit, make sure they're stable, don't die too much. They can just sit the Nature's Prophet in the jungle if they really want to. It's not really the fastest jungler, but it's not bad either. And what other offlane are they going to be able to put down there that's not just going to die anyway? Like, to me, it just seems like this is actually one of the better heroes that they could have put in the situation.
Okay, and well, the final ban here.
Oh,
from
they think
Complexity.
Naga's support.
I guess they do. I mean,
They have to, right?
Yeah, I mean, you'd imagine it's going to be Lena, unless it's going to be the Lena support with
No,
the
I don't think
Dazzle
it's
combo.
Lena
I mean,
support.
that's a little bit unexpected.
They need a hero that dominates mid against DK.
Well, let's see what.
And Lena is pretty much that hero.
Let's see what kind of support. Well, yeah, we're imagining to see the support because I'm sure it's going to be KP on the Naga because after what he did yesterday, yeah, and it's going to be the Earthshaker picked up now. So, I mean, are we looking at a tri lane or looking at potential dual lanes here from MVP?
I think the heroes need experience very badly. I think it's more likely, like, you could potentially have the Dazzle, Shaker, Naga tri-lane, but if it's going to be Nature's Prophet, you're only going to need one hero down there, like, just to make sure that the NPA doesn't come in, and then you just say, okay, well, I'm just going to go jungle instead if you're complexity. So, last pick here, I really like Jakiro against this team. Just because, again, really nice to be able to throw an Ice Path when a snowball's coming in. And plus, it just makes your push ridiculous, like Liquid Fire. Okay, so it's Enigma.
We've got an Enigma game.
Yeah.
I like it.
So it's another pushing hero.
I like it.
They have a lot of ways to stop Black Hole, though.
Yeah, they do.
They have Fissure, they have Lena Stun, they have Snowball. You can even punch him in BKB, but you have to go in from behind. Like, you have to be behind him so the Black Hole's not going to channel on you. And then you have Naga Song and Net, which goes through BKB.
Yeah, I mean, I guess as you were saying, I mean, we were talking about it the other day as well. Enigma's being picked here for the push. The Black Hole's a nice added extra, but this isn't why you're picking up the hero in this situation. You're picking it up to team up with Moon Meander on the Nature's Prophet and take towers, you know, crush the map, make it so Naga hasn't got her own jungle. You know, when we get to the mid-game, it's going to be very hard for her to comfortably farm. So we'll see if this works out for compLexity as we get ourselves ready to jump into the game. Worth noting, of course, in these group stages, it's all best of 2 series.
Yep.
And the way the scoring system will work is if you win 2-0, you get 3 points for the groups, I believe, and a draw will net both teams 1 point.
Well, I'm curious to see how Cull are going to actually lane this, because I saw the Nature's Prophet pick and I was like, okay, I get this. You know, it makes sense to me. They don't really have the best team at being able to pick you off. But now with an Enigma, Moon Meander is going to have very limited places that he can go, because Enigma is pretty much the jungler, right? Like, he jungles faster than pretty much anyone. So he's going to eat a lot of those camps, and that means that Moon Meander is going to have to find a way to not die in lane and see if he can find anything. But MVP here with the 5-man smoke. Pretty common stuff coming out from them.
And of course, anytime you've got a Tusk on the lineup, you've got that potential to find these early pickoffs. But for standing on the high ground, it's wisely. Do they want to try and run into it? So they're going to go up here with a snowball with 3. Going to the damage as well. Look at it. compLexity are melting. Zizzy's going to go down. Swindlebell is going to fall as well. It's a double kill for Nuts. That is not how compLexity wanted to start the game there. They were on the high ground as well. They saw MVP coming up, but they just stood there. I guess they felt that they could do something in reaction, but I mean, we saw the snowball, the heal bomb from Dazzle, level 1. When you've got that many allied heroes surrounding the enemy, there was no hope for compLexity there.
That was just a disaster. The Light Strike Array lands on 2, and then a 3-man Fissure comes out. As soon as that happens, the fight is auto-lost. The thing I think that threw them off was they didn't actually see the smoke break. That's the problem, because the angle he was standing, we're going to see a bit of a Fissure block here on the fly. So he didn't have Arctic Burn anyway. He wasn't going to be able to get the rune. But the really important part is, if you don't see the smoke break, you're not actually 100% sure if it's a 5-man. That's the problem, because we saw the smoke break, but they were in fog when the smoke broke, and then they just saw them walking past the tree line, in which case you don't know if it's all 5 or if it's just like 3 or whatever.
But I mean, if there's heroes coming, you know, standing there going that deep on your side of the map, I mean, you probably expect, I don't know. It's hard to
It's a hard situation to read,
It's a very tough situation, yeah. I mean, this is nice early wraparound here from Fly with the Arctic Burn, just trying to, you know, harass Lena back, and that percentage-based damage does a lot. He's got to be careful, though, because Febby is here.
Why didn't he stun?
He had a bit of mercy. Maybe.
I guess so.
Kyo not wanting to go there. Wanting to focus on the farm in the mid lane. But, of course, worth noting as well the fact that after that 2-0 start, MVP, of course, didn't secure themselves both of the bounty runes as well. So you can hope for a better laning stage to begin with for the side of MVP thanks to that start.
compLexity's team is fairly greedy as well. Like, DK mid, I don't think it's like ultra greedy, but it's not the safest thing in the world. And then you have Enigma jungle and Nature's Prophet. Like, that is some insane greed. So if any team can come back from like an early like 2-0 deficit, it's going to be their kind of heroes, because they all farm. They all excel during like these early mid-game pushes where you just try to stop the Naga from getting to critical mass. And I think that compLexity's lineup has a lot of tools at their disposal to be able to bring themselves back into this game.
Indeed, I mean, we're seeing already in the mid lane, Cure having a fantastic time. Swindlemelon's getting low, and he's got, the Dragon Slave bringing Swindlemelon's incredibly low. He's out of regen as well. Is that the, what's he got coming out? He has got the bottle coming out to him, and he's certainly going to need that, as this hasn't been the best of starts for DK here in the mid lane.
It's expected, though. Like, prior to having bottle, you're just going to take so much harass. I think QO potentially could have even killed him. He has 1 point into Fiery Soul, so his movement speed was actually like 30 or 40 higher than Swindle's. He was just playing it the safe way. Like, maybe he expected the bottle to be coming out on the courier, which would have been some next level awareness. And Fly, gonna deny the rune there from March. Very nicely done.
Just wasting some of the time of Tusk heading out of the lane for that one. And back towards the mid lane again. Febby just sitting here, which again is just gonna make Swindlemelon's play so carefully. I mean, if he gets caught out by a Fissure, the follow-up damage from Lena as well. He's a pretty tanky hero at 644 HP. It's probably not going to kill him. But nonetheless, it's going to be a lot of damage. And then you look at the bottom lane. KP actually going in on Moon Meander here with the net. They're going to try for it here with a heal bomb thanks to the illusions. Bringing him low, looking for the body block as well. Riptide bringing him down. Moon Meander going himself through the trees. Nuts diving deep for this one. Going to toggle the Yakko onto
stuck.
KP.
He's actually stuck in the trees.
He's good. He's good. They've eaten down half the forest. They're going to get him out, but MVP trying to go deep for that one. Doesn't pay off this time.
That was actually some like bulldog level micro coming out from Moon. That was impressive. He like moved trees into position one at a time and actually just like boxed him in. That was pretty cool. But everything kind of going as expected so far. The CS advantage in mid isn't really too bad. Like QO is ahead of the DK, but again, that's how it's supposed to be, at least for the first couple of levels. I don't think that Swindle's going to be too upset with how things are going, considering he did end up dying before the creep wave even spawned. And he had to buy a TP, which delayed his bottle even more. So with that considered, I'd say he's going to be A-okay with the situation. And then they're not really pressuring Moon that much in the bottom lane.
Yeah, the fact that Moon's getting quite a bit, you look at the two position ones, and it's favouring complexity in that sense. Zizzy up here on the top lane on his Gyro, pretty much, well, just behind the Enigma in terms of CS. And, I mean, the fact that MVP, you do kind of have to crush your laning stage because you're playing against a team that's got a jungler. And Zafreak at the moment, you know, halfway through level 5, he's going to be hitting that black hole fairly soon if he wants to try and make a play happen with it. So all in all, even though it wasn't the best start for complexity, they're still finding a lot, and there's going to be a bit of a battle here at the rune. Haste rune picked up by Zafreak, coming in onto QO. Oh, there's a snowball there just in time, but it doesn't matter. QO's still going to go down. There's nice vision from Febby, which might just save March as he runs away. But the hasted Enigma there, coming in just at the right time, and complexity able to get themselves on the board there with that kill.
I think if you're losing the early game laning phase as MVP, you got to be really scared.
Yeah.
Again, complexity's lineup is super greed. They have two heroes that really just don't do much but farm during the early stages of the game. And you also have a DK. The one thing that Complexity has that does fight pretty much is Gyro. And of course, I think that once he manages to get level 6, but up until that point, you're pretty much just like a jungle creep, right? You sit in there and you farm. So I'm a little bit concerned for MVP at the moment. They're going to go on mid.
Oh, indeed, with the fish, there's going to be a TP coming in from Wyvern, but he's not going to get there in time to save the DK. We'll get a slow off onto both QO and March. But that is going to be it, and MVP getting away with a clean pick-off there in the mid lane.
It's nice that they rotate like that because there's actually no vision in mid right now for the side of Complexity. They had that sentry down from earlier, so they realized nighttime. That gank is very strong because you can actually snowball from fog, and because they have the high ground ward, right? So they can just go in straight away, and they know that Swindle wouldn't be able to see them. So very nice rotation coming in.
Yes, indeed. I mean, we look at the Enigma, we're going to expect pretty much what the standard mech build this game if they're going to go for this push and grouping up from Zafreak. I'd imagine that's what we're going to see come out. And Febby's finding a few levels here in the mid lane. He's managed to find himself up to level 4 as well, with the fact that QO, of course, backing up, making the most of the jungle as well. So in terms of getting everyone a little bit of XP on the team for MVP, it's not going too bad. And KP pretty much having free farm still here on the bottom lane. So just a little bit behind Zizzy on this Jar, who seems to be having the edge in this last hitting stage of the game.
I think in this matchup, like, the one thing that's nice that MVP has going for them is March has not really like been zoned out, more or less. Because they're running a jungle and they're very greedy off lane, the support on Fly, he's pretty much had to sit around middle lane because Gyro is their most self-sufficient laner, I think. If he's in a matchup against Tusk or any melee hero, you can harass pretty easily. You're not really going to die in a 1v1. But it also means that the Tusk is going to get a lot of experience. So for MVP, the fact that March is already almost level 6, and it's only 6 minutes into the game, and he has Bottle and TP available, I think that's something they're going to be looking to try to abuse a heck of a lot, especially considering QO now is actually level 7 and has his Laguna ready.
And QO, where is he at the moment? Yeah, just still making the rounds around the jungle. Looks like he's going to be opting for, I imagine, the straight-up Yules build here. Going to be looking for those pickoffs across the map. And there will be that point at the game, as you're saying, once he's got the level 6 online, that heroes like the Gyrocopter, if you're able to find yourself against him, with the amount of burst that they've got in tandem with the Earthshaker as well, they should be able to deal with the Gyro before he's able to get that BKB online.
They just kill him instantly. Like, if it's Tuscalina, that's a dead Gyro, like 100%. I don't really know what the counterplay to that is for Complexity because you actually just die so fast that by the time a TP comes out, it's already too late. Like, you're dead. If you see the snowball coming in, you actually just don't live through that at all. Unless for some reason Complexity is able to get in a position where they can stop the Lina from getting her combo off as the snowball's coming in, which is fairly unlikely considering right now their vision is not in the top lane.
Here we go, middle lane, the setup with the fish, Laguna Blade bringing Swindlemelons low. He gets the stun off, but the punch from Febby finishes him off on the back of it. And that's the combo we're talking about there. Doesn't matter if you're DK, still more than enough burst damage to bring you down. Top lane, the push is starting to come out. Freak coming into the lane with Mumianda, Fly, Zizzy, in fact, the full 4-man here. And they'll look to take this tier 1. Looks like they will get it. Nuts trying to do what he can to bring down these treants. But the tower will inevitably go down. And there's Mumianda there with a final touch as well, getting that bonus gold. And this is pretty much what we're expecting to see from compLexity 8 minutes into the game.
Yeah, very nice early tower coming in. Also puts Z-Freak closer to the mech, if that's what he's going to go for. He's kind of pooling gold right now, though, which is a little bit odd. I know he plays Enigma a heck of a lot, so I'm not going to doubt what item he goes for, regardless of whether it's Blink or mech. But with this style of lineup, I think that mech synergizes very well with the team. Just being able to push... Oh, Moon!
Oh, Moon! You didn't want to TP in there. QO just says, well, I'll take that kill. Picks that one up there from the bottom lane. They do have Fly coming in as well. I mean, this is kind of an issue. We saw compLexity. They committed 4 heroes to the top lane, got themselves a tower. Bottom lane, you've just got KP and QO. They're very close on taking a tower themselves anyway, and they also picked up a kill onto the Nature's Prophet as well, so they do get the deny, but still maybe not the trades that compLexity were wanting to take in a game where you're trying to stop this Naga Siren.
Yeah, that was a little bit weird. I'm not sure if, for whatever reason, QO was just in fog or what, but that was definitely an awkward TP, and he gets punished for that pretty hard. They also pop Dragon Form, and they're not really able to get any damage on the tier 1 at all. So MVP realized the game plan of compLexity, and by just teleporting to that middle lane, they force Swindle into using an ulti that might just be considered wasted. And to try to counteract that, they immediately smoke because they want to try to make use of this Elder Dragon form. Like, the cooldown's not insane. It's 115 seconds, but you don't want to just pop it and then have nothing happen. It's similar to playing Warlock, dropping your ult, and then not getting a tower.
I mean, again, pretty much, what, 3-4 heroes around this bottom lane. But at the same time, MVP taking this middle tier 1. And you've got Naga, KP, continuing to find the farm on this top lane and pressuring the top tower as well. So it's going to be a tier 1 trade here on the top for the mid. But it just seems at the moment compLexity committing a little bit more than MVP. I guess you do have Mumianda taking up some of the XP up here on this top lane. Gyro's still finding a relatively good amount of farm. In fact, if we look at the net worth, he's below QO, in fact, who's at the top, thanks to the kills and the pickoffs she's found. 5k on Yelena.
Yeah, this is a little bit weird, actually, that compLexity are kind of getting matched in their push. Because when you have an Enigma on your team and you have a DK, you don't really consider the fact that the enemy team is going to be able to push as fast as you are. And in terms of taking towers, I think for MVP, if you're trading even in towers right now when you have Naga Siren, I think you're actually okay with that. Because compLexity is supposed to actually just snowball super hard and push all your outer 2 towers and kind of make you react to them. But MVP are doing the right thing. They're not kind of falling into this trap where they feel they have to defend their own towers. They're just making sure that they're not losing their towers for nothing.
And here we go, top lane, KP getting the final touch on that one. Extra bit of gold in the jungle. We might see a bit of a fight. March, he's going to pop the snowball here to avoid the damage from the rocket barrage. But the cooldown coming in, Freak standing under it, so it will catch on to March. March trying to do what he can, but the Fissure coming out perfectly. The Ice Charge tries to block him off. It doesn't matter. The Tusk is going to go down. QO blows up Zizzy here on the back lines, and now with the Yule Scepter complete, holding Freak in place, but now he's in trouble. Winter's Curse coming out from Fly. Echo Slam brings down the Enigma. Mumianda's turned up to the fight now, looking for QO with the help of Fly. Fly's getting low, but they've got the Cold Embrace, keeping himself alive. It's a 2-for-2 trade so far, and now with a slow from Swindlemelons trying to chase down Febby. Febby does get shallow graved up. Dazzle says, I'm out of there. The chase still continues. Swindlemelons trying to get a touch onto Febby, trying to move in here for the Dragon Tail stun, but it looks like Febby might just be quick enough to get away, and Swindlemelons will give up on the chase and head back to the tower instead. But what a fight going on there in the jungle. Overall, fairly even trade, 2-for-2. Does slightly give the edge in terms of gold, though, to compLexity.
The other thing, too, is they'll be able to get some nice damage on this tier 1 with that Dragon form.
Oh,
he's going in.
They want to still fight. I mean, March throwing out the Ice Charge, pushing Fly back. Now, Fly can't really turn to the fight. Did get the Cold Embrace off to buy Swindlemelons some time. And he does just have enough mana to turn around with a stun. And March, it is. You want to go for this, throwing the Ice Shards out. Is he going to head up to the high ground? No, he doesn't want to go up. So Freak is indeed there. And, well, at the same time, though, Naga was up at the top, still creating a bit of a issue with the illusions. You look at the top tier 2, already sitting at a, well, much lower than 50% HP, and KP certainly making things happen around the map. We're only 12 minutes in, and on top of his arcane boots and Poor Man's Shield, he has got 2.5k gold, so certainly closing in on that relic.
compLexity just aren't doing enough right now. Their team actually needs to be getting more out of the map. than what they are currently getting. Because if you look at Febby, he's got Arcanes and 1,900 gold. It's 12 minutes in.
Yeah.
This is a position 4 Shaker. How does he actually have this much? The fact that he's going to have his Blink Dagger before a single tier 2, or excuse me, before the last tier 1 on MVP side of the map is dead, that's a disaster for complexity. Like, their hero composition, they are not meant to be able to deal with something like a Blink Shaker this early on. Like, that's not supposed to happen until basically you're trying to go high ground, right? Like 25 plus minutes in. You want to delay that Blink Dagger as long as humanly possible. MVP, they continue to surprise me at how well they know the hero matchups and how their lineup is supposed to function against this, and they're going to try to go in here on Swindle.
I mean, here we go. There's double damage on this Tuster. The punch is going to hurt. No, it's not. He's got Cold Embrace here on Swindle. Melons have protected him up, but the 2-man Light Strike array. Now March getting stunned up here by the Malefice, chasing him down, getting very low, will fall. They get the Tusker. There's your Black Hole. Screw you, Dazzle. He wants to screw nuts, and he certainly will. Goes down. They do find a second pick off here, complexity with the Black Hole committed. I mean, they're going to need to find a little bit more off the back of that, and it looks like they will here. Moving in onto the tier 1, no fortification available, and with 2 heroes down, complexity should be able to find a bit of momentum. Now with the Winter's Curse on QO, got a little bit too close. Zizzy chasing down here with the Rocket Barrage, and the Malefice holding him in place. There's going to be a Yule Scepter. It doesn't matter, as he'll still fall. Swindle Melons picking up the kill. They'll take the tier 1 as well, and well, 3 heroes on the side of MVP, falling a tower as well. Complexity going to be very happy with that. Looking at the fire recap, only showing that final kill, but still giving us a bit of a taste of the swing that complexity were able to find from that engagement.
They actually needed that so bad. March is going in so far
Oh,
here.
they've got a
Blink.
Echo Slam, the surprise Blink, but it hasn't brought them down. They're just a little bit too tanky. Febby getting the Fisher off, really trying to find this, but Swindleman just turns around with a fire, takes down the Tusk. There's going to be a Shallow Grave on Febby as he gets himself back out of the fight, but that's essentially a 4th kill within a minute that MVP are throwing away against complexity, and complexity, they don't lose anything from that. That was an incredible trade there for the side of the Dire.
And that was the first showing of the Blink Dagger. A lot of times you get like this free initiation when you go in with the Blink and the enemy team isn't expecting it, because it's 14 minutes in. Who's going to expect Febby to have Arcane's Blink on position 4 Shaker at this early stage? So I think what ended up happening there is the Echo Slam hit, obviously, but the Aftershock didn't stun Swindle. So he was able to use Dragon Tail to stop the cast animation of the Fissure before the rest of the combo actually came out. So instead of just stun locking them both, he only actually stunned one, and then he gets stunned and ends up getting turned around. So that was kind of like 2 mistakes that happened back-to-back for MVP. Definitely not the best situation for them, but this entire time, KP is left completely alone.
Exactly.
He's got his relic pretty much.
Yeah.
He's got the money for it right now. So maybe still a little bit concerning for complexity, but at the very least, the couple of engagements that we saw most recently have gone very favorably for them, so I think they'll be feeling a little bit more comfortable.
This is pretty good timing as well here for the Nature's Prophet, Moon. He's going to have the Orchid very, very shortly, so we've got around the 16-minute mark by the looks of it, so not bad at all here for the Nature's Prophet. We'll see what he's able to do with that one across the map, but as you said, yeah, KP has the Relic on its way, and 15 minutes in, that's not too bad of a timing at all.
Yeah, he's going to have his Radiance probably before 20 minutes. That would be my guess. He always knows how to push the hero, because every single time he sees complexity out on the map anywhere, he's like hitting a tier 2 tower, for example. Like the tier 2 safe lane's almost dead, 450 HP right now. So he definitely understands his limits, and when you have a player like that on a Naga Siren, you have to be very, very cautious if you're complexity taking it into the later stages, even with something like an Orchid at your disposal. But MVP, they got the smoke.
He needs to be careful which way he goes. He's going to get caught out here. Everything getting thrown down. The Laguna Blade as well. The final kill. Let's see if Complexity can find anything in return. March actually trapped up here by his own Ice Shards. Tusk is going to go down, so they do get the trade. And not necessarily bad trade. It's putting Moon Meander on a killing spree and taking down this Tusk, who did have a pretty healthy time at the beginning of the game in that offlane.
That wasn't too bad, I guess. The one thing about Complexity right now is, if they want to, well, actually, I think they're just going to go for a Roche Sneak, which is a great play. Because if you look at the warding on the map, they can actually see MVP. They could, like, they saw the Naga Siren a little bit ago. They say 2 people top, and with the ward and the creeps, they can see Nuts mid. So they realize that this is not going to be contested at all. This is actually a really nice move. And the other thing, too, is they just kill Enigma. So it becomes even less likely that MVP would expect a move like that, considering they just lost a hero. So now, Complexity, they get the Aegis for free. It's going to be on Ziz, and Shadowblade is now done on Melon. So now they have a way to actually jump in without being seen, which is pretty important when you're playing up against these styles of teams. If he finds like the Shaker in the back, or he finds like even Naga just pushing a lane, they can TP with the Nature's Prophet and just kill.
They can do indeed fly, maybe needing to be a little bit careful in the mid lane, because there we go, straight up with the Echo Slam. They want to blow this man up. No chance for Cold Embrace or anything. Not that it's going to help you against the magical damage of these two. And that's a quick and easy pick off there for Phoenix, and a nice bit of gold. And XP swinging their way as well, and he's going to find Moon Meander here. He's still got this Laguna Blade a little bit low on the mana. He's going to need some bottle charges, or hey, doesn't even need it. There's a snowball coming in as well. Moon Meander's going to get walls punched out. Siegfried, he's looking for a black hole. He's thinking about it. He has got the mana to do so. The cooldown slow will connect. Is he going to move in for this one? Maybe doesn't even need it, because Swindlemelons, he's found Febby, the Song of the Siren coming through. Febby and March will simply TP themselves away. KP as well. And that Song essentially saving all three of their lives there.
That's actually just like the punch in the gut, right? It's like, okay, you're going to try to get a couple of kills. Just kidding. I'm going to sing you the song of my people, and then everyone's just going to casually walk it off. And we talked about the pre-20-minute Radiance. It is out right now.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, it's Naga Siren 18-minute Radiance with Bottle and Arcane Boots. So KP continues to farm at a pretty insane rate in this game. And compLexity, they need to do more. Like, yeah, your Nature's Prophet is going to transition pretty well into the late game. You'll be able to do your fair share of ratting, but you don't buy an Orchid to continually AFK farm, you know? I think you really want Swindle to try to look for some picks. When you have Shadowblade, he's even got a Haste Rune if he wants to pop it up. He can look for somebody and just try to go for a few quick picks, because the more you pressure KP and keep him on your side of the map, the more work your Nature's Prophet can actually do. And they still have yet to damage any of the Tier 2 towers, whereas compLexity are actually at a tower deficit as they lost their Tier 2 in the safe lane. So they still got a bit of work ahead of them, but it's still anyone's game.
Indeed, and I think the graph certainly shows that as well. Up and down through these earlier stages. At the moment, pretty much sitting bang at 0. But you've got to expect with a Naga, unless you're able to do a lot against the side, that difference in terms of gold at least is going to start to skyrocket because of the Radiance.
Middle lane, I think we could potentially see some action here. The rest of compLexity are in the area. There's a Shadowblade here on Swindle.
And here we go, sneaking in, no detection out at the moment, so he's going to be able to get the jump, and he's going to go for Febby straight away, blowing him up here with the Nature's Wrath, but it doesn't matter, the Snowball coming through, and the Shallow Grave, Winter's Curse coming down, holding them in place perfectly under the cooldown, will bring down March and Febby, double kill for Zizzy, and that's going to be that. So all in all, incredibly nice Winter's Curse there, enabling them to get those kills, regardless of the Snowballs and the Shallow Graves being thrown about.
Yeah, that was a really nice couple of picks there, especially considering they caught him when Echo was down. So Echo came up like as Febby was dead, more or less. So he didn't really have any counterplay to what happened. And the Grave and the Snowball kind of overlapped each other. I think that was a bit of a mistake. I know March just wanted to save him, right? Like he saw Nuts over there, but he wasn't sure if the Grave was going to be in time or not. But he had ample opportunities to be able to throw it out there. So compLexity going to be able to get a tier. They still have... Wait, they still have their Aegis, right? No, they don't. Okay. Yeah, okay, never mind. I lost it earlier. I don't know. Apparently I was not watching that. But for now, compLexity, they've done a pretty good amount of work in the last couple of minutes. You know, getting the Roshan Snake after Enigma died and then continually pushing, finding 2 more picks. They're doing what they need to do, which is nice to see, because every single time I say Naga Siren with Radiance up at this early stage, you just have to always remember the fact that the enemy team playing against Naga, they can never stop.
I mean, look at this. Just with these illusions. Goodbye, Creep Wave. It's going to be so hard for compLexity to regain this momentum, which they desperately need with this kind of pushing lineup. The Naga at the moment just becoming a huge issue for the side. QO trying to move in, seeing if they can catch out Zizzy here under the cover of smoke. Not going to be the case. And maybe towards the mid lane is going to be the focus here. Swindlemelons on his own here at the moment with the defense. And MVP just standing up in the jungle. We've got these wards up here from the Radiance. They've got fairly good vision of both the top and the middle lane. And we'll see what the next move is here from MVP. Maybe waiting to see if anyone does come out to try and farm out behind this tier 2 in the mid lane.
Well, the problem with sitting in the jungle like this is your bottom lane is just going to die. Like, yeah, you got your Radiance Naga Siren down there. She'll be able to get the deny on the tower, but the tower being dead, I think, is more important than actually getting the gold for it for now. Just because, again, you have that Prophet. He needs the room to work. The more towers that go down, the more of the lane game you can actually play. And MVP have a limited amount of smokes that they can do, right? Whereas you have Swindlemelon with Shadowblade, and you have a Nature's Prophet who can TP anywhere. Or, excuse me, Silver Edge now, as he just upgrades it. But
and look at this. I mean, MVP, they're looking for the Nature's Prophet, wondering if he's hiding around these tree lines. And essentially time wasted, because Moon Meander's chilling down here. Will reveal himself now. And yeah, the pings come out. They know there's no MP. And MVP maybe... I mean, at this point, do they have the power and what it takes to try and push up to the high ground here on the top lane?
I don't think so. I think they have a much better chance trying to play. Like they're trying to be proactive out on the map because they want the Naga Siren to have more room to continually push lanes. So when you're forcing fights, it means that KP can just send illusions to other lanes like mid and bottom and just make sure that they're continually pushed out. But Moon Meander is like dealing with that in a great way. He's just always making sure that he's pushing lanes as well, and he's trying not to be in the same place as the Naga Siren at any point in time. So if Naga's pushing one lane, he's in the other lane pushing that, making sure that there's never two lanes going in favor of MVP, because when that happens, then all you have to do is push the one lane that's not pushed, and then you have a situation where 3 lanes are constantly in front of your base, and then you have to be like stuck inside and hope that you can smoke out and maybe kill, or, you know, MVP are going to have full map control in that situation. So compLexity are doing a nice job at the moment, and they're also looking for potentially a fight. And this is another haste rune on Melons, by the way.
Oh, he's got the Silver Edge complete here as well. Moving in, and QO kind of left behind here by the side. And he's going to get caught out. No, the Yule's actually buying him some time. Winter's Curse to hold him in place. Swindlemelon's trying to do what they can, but it might be MVP trying to turn this one around. Cold Embrace on Swindlemelon's helping him out. And ZZ actually moving in here. But the burst damage coming out for QO. The Echo Slam for Febby holding them in place. They're going to lose ZZ here. It's a 1-for-1 so far. KP trying to go to work on Swindlemelon's. He's just a little bit too tanky at the moment. Will turn around, bring down March. There's your Song of Your People as KP waltzes out of this one. They'll be able to keep the Earthshaker and the Dazzle alive, but they've already lost both the Tusk and the Lina. Swindlemelon's actually moving in here, and that's just going to be able to TP out in the sideline. But it looks like compLexity will take that favorable trade and turn it into a bit of a push here and apply a bit of pressure here to this tier 2 with the remainder of the Elder Dragonfall.
Now that Echo was almost the dream. Like they almost turned it around with that, so Febby was very on point. But again, Winter's Curse showing how powerful it can be. Fly doesn't have to really stand anywhere near the team fight. As long as he sees an opening for it, he just throws it out, and that sets up a DK stun. And sometimes it can even set up a black hole, depending on how good the ult actually is. And once he gets up BKB, there's only going to be one way to interrupt black hole, and that's going to be a punch. And Melons, he's going to get a stun here, but he will not get hit by the enchant.
Trying to chase him. They have got this gem, of course, on Febby, but yeah, he's just a little bit too speedy, getting himself out of there. Still, though, the other lanes, compLexity have got a lot of work to do in terms of pushing these back out. But the fact that they have still got these tier 2s here means that essentially you are just pushing the lanes in, and Zizzy, of course, will be able to clean those up. And he certainly needs to, falling behind a little bit in terms of farm compared to the Naga, of course. But other than the Naga, pretty much everyone around this 9k, 11k Moon Meander with a bit of an edge with the amount of farm he's managed to find. Level 2 Necro, and half the way through picking up his final recipe to get that level 3 Necro. And as you were saying earlier, we are at this point where all the tier 2s down on the Radiant side, so they have got to be careful about these lanes because the wrap potential is always going to be there thanks to Moon.
Yeah, but it's kind of like it's fighting fire with fire, right? That's pretty much the term we can use to describe the Naga Siren versus the Nature's Prophet matchup. The one difference, though, is that Naga Siren will usually win out in the end, just because of how illusions work and how difficult it is to deal with illusions being sent to multiple places at once. Ultimately, Nature's Prophet can only be in one place, and the Treants do not push as fast as a Naga Siren illusion. Just the Radiance burn in of itself already pushes faster than a tree. So, with that in mind, you always need to make sure that you're trying to do a little bit more than just push out a lane, and I think that's why Moon decided to go for Orchid, because he wants to be able to contribute in fights, and having a Necro Book just means that if compLexity get to base, they'll have that extra little bit of oomph to potentially just take the tower and open up a set of racks, because when that happens, then Nature's Prophet becomes extremely annoying. And sometimes you can even just get free damage on the base, even if another lane besides the one they are actually in is being pushed, because as long as backdoor protection is disabled, you can actually harass the base. So compLexity now looking for something here. Roshan has respawned.
Yeah, MVP did smoke up from, in fact, compLexity's jungle, moving back towards their own, seeing if they can find anything with this smoke, but Swindlemelon's playing it safe at the moment, keeping himself hidden behind the tree line. Does need to be careful, of course, walking around with a Silver Edge, as Febby is about with that detection with the gem. And yeah, as you said, Roshan up. This is going to be pretty much the point of contention for these two teams now. And we're seeing pretty much everybody down here. Smoke up, in fact, from compLexity, leading the charge, Swindlemelons, with the Invis on his Silver Edge. And if they can catch out Nuts here, it's going to be a nice quick pick off if they can kill him before he gets everything off, and they will. That's going to be your Dazzle down for this fight. March moving in, the Malefice coming out. Mech has been popped, but the Winter's Curse there, holding him in place. Swindlemelon's moving in. He's got a Dragon Tail if he needs to, but he's actually going to look for more. He wants to find KP. Moon Meander actually round the back, scouting out the Naga Siren. QO is going to go down here. Moon Meander will fall. KP is actually going to live for the time being, trying to get himself out. He has got Febby there with a Fissure, still with an Echo Slam available as well, but it looks like Febby, he's holding onto the Fissure, but it comes out a little bit too late. Febi's not actually able to save KP. KP will fall. Now it's Febi who's in a bit of trouble himself. The side of compLexity going up. He gets off an Echo Slam, but it's more of a ceremonial one as they take his life compLexity. 4-for-1 trade. Mumianda being the only sacrificial lamb. And what a play there from compLexity. And it just kind of seemed that MVP were holding on to spells and they just didn't want to use them.
That entire time, that Nuts was getting blocked by trees. Like, Moon was body blocking him so hard when he was trying to run away. Swindle was able to get in range for a stun. And then there were just a slew of mechanical mistakes coming out from MVP. First, March snowballs too far away from the Dazzle to put him inside of it. So Dazzle just dies. Then because the Dazzle is dead, and there's no two people in the snowball, it automatically means that there's no grave when the snowball ends, which means that March is now out of position and also dies. And then after that, the Naga Siren trades her life for a Nature's Prophet, cancels her song before she even casts it. Like, she was mid-animation and decided to not cast the song at all. Maybe he thought he wasn't going to get it off. I don't know. But, like, a lot of mistakes in a row basically lost MVP that fight without the use of Black Hole.
Yeah.
So now, compLexity, they got another Aegis. They
big.
got Black Hole. That was a total disaster for MVP.
And I want to have a look at the graphs now. How are we starting to swim? Well, it's just compLexity getting more and more in the lead at each of these fights. I mean, you look at the dot. This is a lot of kills for compLexity and not a lot for MVP. I think the last we saw them take one pick off, of course, on Mumianda there. But before that, it was a good pretty much 12 minutes or so ago that they were able to find any kind of pick off against compLexity. So it's certainly getting scarier for MVP, but at the same time, they do, of course, still have that Naga sitting at the top of the net worth board, and with a Manta style complete and the money racking up on top of the bots Radiance as well. So Octarine will be almost certainly the next item of choice, and she's not too far away from it.
The one thing that MVP can take solace in is even if you are like 10, 15,000 gold behind, well, first off, they won a game where they were that far behind yesterday. And second, it was a Naga game. So if you have Naga Siren and you have like a 10,000 golden experience deficit, the game still is not over. That's just the kind of strength that the hero brings to the table. Unfortunately for them, compLexity actually have an extremely good team at going high ground. So this game is going to be harder to recover from than the match that we saw them playing yesterday up against Archon, where they weren't able to quite as easily go high ground. Whereas with Dragon Form, a Book 3, an Enigma, I think that compLexity can break high ground with that kind of push.
Definitely, especially if they can do it off the back of a fight like the fights that they've been finding so far. It's going to be very hard for MVP to do anything in response. And I don't know if we've noted this, but Enigma with a completed BKB as well on top of the mech. So he is going to be able to get out those songs, sorry, not the songs, the black holes pretty reliably in these fights. And in fact, is there anything that can cancel him?
Yeah, punch.
Punch.
Yeah, but it's very hard to land that punch
because
you have to walk in from a very specific angle to not get hit by the black hole itself. Febi.
Oh, he gets himself out as a freak, not quite able to find the Malefice there.
That's a good thing he didn't die. I mean, they did lose the gem before, so that's a little bit of a bummer. They had a Book 3 anyway, so I guess like the gem, like losing it is bad because then you can't get map control back for a while unless you want to buy mass entries, and plus like the investment of the gem in the first place is pretty expensive. But compLexity had a book anyway. I think they were going to be pretty okay in terms of like making sure they were dewarding.
I just had a thought as well, of course. There'll be the net as well from Naga, essentially.
Oh yeah, net as well. Yeah, you're right.
Which it's got pretty fairly good range. So I guess to be fair, using the black hole at this point, because of that, you're probably looking to catch the Naga in the black hole.
Yeah, I think it's the safest hero to catch. And that's going to be a Vlad's for Moon. So they want to end the game. Like, you don't buy Vlad's on Nature's Prophet, a hero who can farm at a ridiculous rate, unless you know that you're going to be able to just end it. Like, typically, it's if you buy an item that's that cheap, there's two reasons. One, you're going to 5-man. Two, you need to have an item that's going to be effective for you at that stage, and you cannot afford to wait to buy anything. And it's definitely not the latter in this case. So he needs to make sure that he has Vlad's for his team when they want to push at high ground with the Aegis. So when the next time they have the opportunity, it's just going to end. Because otherwise, the hero farms so fast that sometimes buying like a 2,300 gold item just isn't worth it, because you're going to replace it, right? Because you just get that gold income, and you're like, oh, okay, well, I'm just going to sell my Vlad's, buy something else. So this says to me that compLexity do not want to let this game go on any longer.
QO applying a bit of pressure here on the top lane. He's got the backup of both KP and Febi. So they're going to look for a push here on this top tier 3. But at the same time, compLexity, they're looking at the tier 3 in the mid lane. And also Mumianda pushing in the bottom lane. Looks like it's going to force some TPs back from MVP. realizing they do need to be on the defensive here if they want to stop this. Zizzy tanking up the tower, but he has got that Aegis still ready to pop. And, well, Swinnermelon's actually trapped up here as well. The armor ticking down because of that weave, getting pretty low. Gold Embrace from the low ground from Fly. And just allowing him to sustain this push. Whoa! Oh, straight away there. Blowing up the Winter Wyvern. Mumiander getting the silence out to QO, and March isn't going to snowball forward, just snowballing into the creep wave there. So after losing Fly, realizing they don't want to stick around, they do find the tier 3 in the mid lane, get a bit of damage onto the tier 3 at the bottom. But top lane, they lost to tier 3 themselves, and a bit of damage actually done to the racks themselves by MVP in that push.
KP is playing this very well. Like, he's only died once this game. It's 33 minutes. And he knows that, okay, if I fight and we lose that fight, the game is just straight up over. And, I mean, that's Octarine done now on this Naga Siren. And we've also managed to secure some Guardian Greaves up on the Tusk. I think that this stage of the game is the most crucial for complexity. They need to make sure that Moon Meander is on top of his split-pushing game. He needs to keep those lanes out. Because if you trade racks for racks, it could end up in one of those crazy base race games that we saw actually multiple times yesterday. And you don't want to put yourself in that spot, especially when you're playing from ahead. I still think the complexity have a pretty decent lead right now. It's like 7,500 gold. The experience is the prime indicator of how well they've been doing in team fights on top of that.
It certainly is. It's quite a different, but as you said, we did see a swing back from MVP with a Naga yesterday.
Yeah.
Albeit this is going to be a bit of a bigger game to swing back from because complexity is certainly looking very good at this point of the game. It is just this Naga sound they're going to be worried about. And MVP, they want to try and swing this background in their favor. Smoking up towards the mid lane, picking off Swinnermelons is going to be pretty nice if they can do it. And straight away with those stuns and the burst from the Laguna, nowhere for the Dragon Knight to run. And that is DK down for a full minute, and he is 500 gold short of a buyback.
That's actually really bad, because now they're going to lose this tier 2 for sure. If they let the creeps go to base, like if they kill this tower, they'll probably let the lane push in, and then they'll just try to run top and deal some more damage to the range racks. That's like the safest bet, right? Actually, KP's already doing that. Yeah, he's actually walking straight top. He just wants to hit the range racks.
Oh, Zizzy's going to be there trying to clear the illusions out. Actually going to opt for the tier 2 here on the moment on the bottom lane, the rest of MVP. Okay, so
it's a bit of a safer play.
Yeah.
But they might think that DK has buyback too, which could be why they're opting to go for the tier 2s. Now, I think forcing the buyback might have been better, just because if the DK buys back and you have Song, you know you can just bail. Like, no one besides Enigma has BKB, right? So if you just Song, you're pretty much guaranteeing the fact that you can get away. I'm a bit surprised they didn't actually try to pressure a bit. Maybe they thought that by sending KP top, they would force the buyback, but unfortunately that was not the case. I will say, though, that having all the tier 2s down with an Naga Siren on your team is still very good. So it could be seen as a safe play and a play for the later stages in the game, when we also talked about earlier the Nature's Prophet and the strength of having the base exposed. Same thing applies to Naga. Any hero that wants to rat, and they're going to catch out Moon here inside of the woods.
Moon, he's being ratted out. He's going to try and get a bit of damage onto QO, but not enough. Looks for the teleport. Oh, it's not going to happen, and that is going to be getting taken down. And the Necros to fall as well. A bit more gold there for Lina in the bank. Jara has now picked up the MKB, so in terms of defending from the high ground, you look at Complexity's lineup, and it's pretty damn good.
Yeah. I think right now Complexity, if it's a 5v5 engagement, I don't know if they can actually like wipe them because of Naga and how Naga Siren Song actually functions in a fight, but they can win the fight for sure. Like, I think their team composition at this stage is so much stronger because the Tusk is starting to fall off a bit. Like, his damage really isn't threatening. He does have Guardians, but they're more reliant on like QO and KP to make sure they carry the team fights. Obviously, Echo is going to be important as well. But you're not going to find like a full-fledged 5-man fight in this game, I feel. Like, one hero from each team is always going to be in a different spot. Like, you're going to have Nature's Prophet from Complexity, and you're going to have KP playing the Naga from MVP just being somewhere else. Like, I don't see much reason for either of those heroes to commit to a 5-man. If anyone's going to do it, it's going to be Moon, because Moon knows that his team is strong in a 5-man. But KP doesn't want to fight. He's like, I just want to play the lane game. And it's working because he's got like a 9,000 net worth lead in the next like richest hero in the game.
Oh, the Scardy complete as well on K. It's looking pretty nasty, this Naga Siren.
Like, if they win this game, it's because KP is going to carry them.
Yeah.
Like, that's how they're going to win.
Indeed. Let's see what Complexity are ready to do about it. They're making a bit of a bold move here. 4 of them coming out of the base. 3 smoked up. Looking for a bit of a Swindlemelon's bait. And, well, obviously last time, the side of MVP, they did pick off Swindlemelons in a similar situation when he was on his own. So maybe Complexity trying to use that to catch them out this time. But it looks like MVP aren't falling for it. There's no intention of smoking up and going for Swindles. So the smoke's going to be in vain. They're going to try and follow it around here with Swindle Melons and his Silver Edge. And I mean, now Nuts and Febby around this mid lane, but still just playing ever so carefully to ensure that they don't get caught out by the rotations of complexity.
They're kind of getting a bit impatient, I feel. They say, okay, well, our lanes are being pushed in. Every single one of them is across the river. And again, this is Naga Siren. Even a Nature's Prophet cannot keep up with a Naga Siren split push because you can only be in one place at a time. Naga can be in like 4.
Oh, Febby, yeah, he wants to go for it straight onto Swindle Melons. The Freak is there with the Black Hole of Febby. He's actually going to BKB up, maybe even thinking about doing so. But already, Swindle Melons incredibly low, can't really commit. And there's your Black Hole. It's only going to be onto 1 onto Febby. Can they even bring him down? I don't know if they can because Dazzle's down the sidelines. With the Shallow Grave, there's going to be a Winter's Curse thrown out, but they've already lost Swindle Melons. The fight is going off left, right, and center. In fact, let's look at KP because he's the focus. Can they kill him? No, they can't. He gets off the Song of the Siren. And they're just going to think about regrouping on this one. Zizzy is there, March and Kyo looking at it, but it looks like they're simply going to back themselves off. Happy with the pick off onto Swindle Melons. They get the kill onto the DK. They get the BKB and the Black Hole used by Enigma. So all in all, a very nice win there for MVP.
I can't believe they're getting away with this. Like, it was a bit awkward for complexity that they managed to walk into the one team fight that Naga was actually there for. Like, I think there's been 2 times this game where KP has been present at a fight for a song and then walked away. Once at the bottom river and then once mid. With that team fight win, knowing that there's no Black Hole, MVP are going to get Roche. This is actually really, really bad for complexity now because that Roshan was supposed to be their ticket to high ground. You know, that's Roshan number 3, like you mentioned, with Cheese. So if complexity get that, they can actually threaten high ground. And then you can look to even try to go like YOLO Throne, for example, if the Naga Siren is still split pushing you while you're trying to take the enemy base, which she probably would be in this game. So the fact that they take it away from complexity is massive. Like, even though they were at such a huge deficit, again, the Naga Siren, man, this hero, it could just straight up win them the game.
Yeah, just these lanes, it's almost... What a hero. I mean, when you get to this point, I guess you kind of deserve it, because KP's performance
he's played amazing.
On point.
Yeah.
He's deserved to get this hero to this point. It's... Oh, Cure. That's when he's going to go for it. He's not going to. He's going to call the bluff.
He doesn't have a team here.
And Qo, I think he's a little bit dead. There is some rotations coming in. He's got the Aegis here, but do MVP really want to try and fight and save the lead out? I don't think they do. I think they say Qo. Oh, we're just going to let you go. The Song came in, but it wasn't in range. So the Song a little bit, and now March. March is getting caught out by the Winter's Curse. He's going to snowball trying to get himself out. Swindlemelon's making sure that no kind of backup comes in. And that's going to be March falling as well on the Tusk. And Swindlemelons, he might even find more here. Moving in, looking for Nuts. Nuts going to look for the TP, but there's a stun. And it's going to come out. Nuts caught out here in the tree line. He's going to fall as well. That's 3 heroes going down in MVP in a series. What the heck was going on?
I don't know. I think Huo was overconfident because he had Aegis, and he's like, okay,
look
I'm
just
going to chill here. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the Naga is going to be split pushing, but I think complexity can just throne. I mean, there's 30 seconds left on 2 of the heroes, but maybe they don't throne. Maybe they just deal a bit of damage and then just leave. They could look to trade. But the Naga Siren's actually pushing at a comparable speed to what complexity are doing. So complexity are going to go for the double racks. No one's bought back, so they know that buybacks aren't available, but this tier 3 was very low earlier from when Moon Meander was split pushing with his team.
Oh, they're going to look for Cure here, moving forward here with the cooldown
and
the Dragon Tail. This Lina is going to die. He's down. He does have buyback available here. Complexity turning back to the racks, and Lina does indeed buy back in this situation. KP is going to find the tier 3 here in the mid lane. It looks like Complexity might even back up here. Are they going to double back in for this one? No, they're going to start to TP back here to get the defense on. Zizzy coming back along with Fly. KP's not able to find a second set of racks here, so just get the one. Might even be in trouble here. KP, no, he's got the Song available. He should be fine. Oh, it's a free.
Oh, the net!
The net came out, was thrown in the air at the same time as Black Hole was cast, lands on the Enigma, stopping the animation, and KP now with the Song moving back in towards these guys.
His team's coming.
Is he going to try and turn this?
There's
with
no
the
Black
guys?
Hole, his team's here.
I mean, Kyo moving in. The Fish are catching out Mumianda. There we go. The cold embrace just in time, keeping the Nature's Prophet alive. Qo will be able to back up, and MVP won't find anything from that one. But, oh, maybe they will. Febby going in. They want that Nature's Prophet. They're going to get him. Mumianda down for 70 seconds. Buyback indeed. 660 gold short at this point in time. And now it's MVP that are ready to look for more out of the basic complexity, of course. Naga took the top set of racks. They're going to look for the second set. They have lost 2 sets of racks themselves, so this is going to make the playing board a little bit more even. Swindlemelons, can they do anything? And March going forward incredibly aggressively. Zafreak going forward. He goes in with the black hole. Oh, he's getting all of them, and they're going to lose KP as well. 3 heroes falling on MVP. March to go down as well. The defense was certainly there. And Andy, what happened? I thought you already used that. So it was cancelled before it actually counted as the cooldown costing.
I thought he used it.
I thought he used it. I swear the animation came out.
I did too, dude. I definitely saw the animation.
What the hell is going on?
I don't know what just.
That
I
must
have
be
to watch
something
the
with that
game
item.
again.
Yeah,
that was really weird.
Definitely the animation came out, which should count as it being used, shouldn't it? Because it was cancelled. It was there, and then the net cancelled it.
The net was midair when the cast came out.
What?
And then I don't know what just happened.
Well,
I actually, all right, Ice Frog, please. Well. Either way, compLexity with a gigantic base defense.
Okay, well, back to the game. Let's see what they can do here. Buyback's
Oh, he had a
out.
refresher. He has a refresher on the courier, that's why.
Oh, he's on the courier. It's a secret refresher.
Whatever.
Oh, Zafreak there with the secret refreshing plays. And now off the back of that,
he didn't show it. He didn't
That's
show it.
amazing. That is incredible. He caught them off guard. They did not expect that black hole then. And off the back of it, compLexity, they take mega creeps. What a genius.
That was actually insane.
That was insane. What? Even we did not know. What? I mean, they do lose the gyro here, but they mega creep the base. I did the play after play coming out here. Both teams going for it. Fly's going to lose his life in the mid lane. Swindlemelons, as I said, there's a free coming in. He's going to look for QO here. Swindlemelons trying to chase this one down. Buyback's coming out from both the gyro and the Winter Wyvern. It's Swindlemelons standing there, taking the damage here from Nuts and QO as they're going absolutely crazy. Enigma will buy back to get himself in the fight. They're trying to bring down this DK, but they just can't. He's just too damn tanky. Now March coming in to help him out. Swindlemelons getting low, and he will fall. He does have buyback, though. He's going to use it straight away. What is the plan here from the team? They're sitting in the base at the moment. Where they're going to TP out to? Actually TPing out towards Roshan. Maybe that's going to be the idea, but it's not up at the moment. This game, I'm still impressed by that surprise refresher orb.
Yeah, I don't think MVP were actually thinking about that at all. I mean, it's 43 minutes in. If you look at Enigma's items, he seems pretty poor, right?
So you would.
They've been doing very well this game. Like Zafreak especially, like he's 5-3 and 13. He's been farming pretty much the entire game. So to expect him to only have this much, I mean, it's one of those things where it's not intuitive when you're actually in the game sometimes, and you just don't really pay that much attention. No. But it's a good play. It's the same reason why you hide stuff like Shadow Amulet before you make Shadow Blade, because you want to have that element of surprise, right? Like the enemy team is not expecting you to have an item at that point. Moon's going to get picked off in the bottom lane.
Okay,
so he does trade his life, but I mean, this is Megas. Yeah,
it's
the Naga Siren split push does not do enough against Megas, and the Naga Siren's still dead for 10 seconds, which means the MVP could potentially be giving up game one to compLexity.
Okay, Febby coming in with the Echo Slam. Mumi and Zizzy going to be the target. Zizzy has got that Satanic available though, and they might be able to turn this one around. It looks like they're going to try it. They lose Moon here, but now Zizzy going into onto March. He has put the Satanic and healing back up. There's a black hole, and I think it might be a game-ending black hole as well as now. The H is exposed. compLexity going to work. Can MVP defend? This is going to be the song. Setting this one up. What can they do off the back of this? Febby, he's moving in, but of course he hasn't got the Echo Slam. They have got the chain stuns. Zizzy getting low. He's going to go down. That is your gyro down now for 100 seconds. The freaking Swindlemelons. Can MVP kill these two as well with the defense here? They're trying to do their best. KP getting low. The Swindlemelons actually turning his attention towards him. Zafreak, he's going to go down. Glimmercape's not going to save you. Swindlemelons getting punched up into the sky, trying to walk this one off. Corner breaks there from Fly. Fly blinks away. They tried to save the Dragon Knight. I don't know if it's going to be enough. He has got the Silver Edge, but he's caught under the net. Snowball's going to be there. They bring down Swindlemelons, and now triple kill for Nuts. It's actually compLexity. They're down 4 heroes. And let's have a look at the buyback status. I don't think it's going to be looking good.
Not a single person in the game has buyback, actually.
Oh my god.
I don't know if they can push fast enough, though.
What? I tell you what, I know there's 2 other big games going on at the moment, but if you're not watching this, I think you're missing out. This is great.
This is what we call a scrappy game. Both teams are pretty much just running at each other at this point. They even buy a Deso for the all-in mid-push.
But compLexity just lost at this point, or can they still have a chance?
I don't know if they have enough time, because here's the thing. They have to go through 2 tier 4 towers.
Okay.
Right? If they want to go
they've got a fortification.
Yeah, they have a fort as well.
Yeah.
The one thing they have that's really good for them is they have Naga Siren, so they can actually defend, and she can bot in with bots level 2 at the same time to continue pushing down mid. However, Moon's going to be up in 5. So Moon can actually just backdoor the base, and just him by himself, because of the fact that, again, MVP have to go through the tier 4s. KP can't leave base. If KP leaves base, I think Moon TP's in, and they just lose their throne. Oh, Moon's actually already TP'd. Okay, they're going in.
Okay, I mean, KP, the real KP is back here, yeah. Ready with the defense. Mid lane, the Brax.
They only have 15 seconds. Oh, they're going to counter Mega. They're not going to go for throne.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is going to be a game where 2 Mega creeps are going to happen. I don't think I've seen this very often. Oh, the curse! Febi's dead!
Oh, fly there with the curse. And that is Febi down, and as we're saying, no buyback for you. That is one down, but they should still be able to Megas.
Moon died.
Oh, Moon
Naga
died to
Siren
KP.
killed Moon.
Okay.
They're actually going to TP in and go for the counter Mega.
Oh, now with the song here.
Okay,
but
that was not the
there's
song.
your Black Hole. Where's your Black Hole? He's refreshed. He's looking for it. Moving in onto QO. The nets come out already. March getting low. Yule's on QO in place. But now QO bursting down to free. Cold Embrace is going to keep the Enigma alive here. Now, March going TP with a snowball onto Fly. Nuts is there as well, but Zizzy's going to try and chase this one down with the MKB. Zafreak looking to find March. He should be able to find it. That is March down. 4 heroes down now on the side of MVP. They don't have buyback. The H is exposed. The Mega Creeps go to work. They didn't manage to claim Megas themselves. And I think this pretty much could be the end of the game. They've got a Naga Siren. What can she do on her own? The buyback is now available and will be used by Lina. Can they really defend against this, Andy? It's going to be quite something.
I mean,
if
they can
do,
defend against the creeps, but they're not going to be able to defend against the creeps and compLexity barreling down middle lane.
We have had some insane games. This is... What a way to start the day.
I thought we were going to see double Megas. That would have been awesome. I don't think I've seen that before. At least, like, I've seen it before, but I haven't cast a game with double Megas before.
On the net, onto the window. Actually going to pop this on. They're just trying to buy some time by the looks of it to allow Shaker at least to get back on the map, which he will be on in a good 4 seconds. So he's going to be there, and with the Echo Slam, but Zafreak,
they just hit the base,
they're
though.
just, okay, they've got a 4. Oh, KP tries to do what he can. They're trying everything. They're throwing everything out. It's not going to be enough. Zafreak with the GG Black Hole. compLexity take the first game of this series, and wow, what a game! Just from confusing us with that surprise refreshers orb.
I don't know how I missed that actually.
In the courier,
like,
I'm sure he must have been just building it and never had it on himself in person. Just had it in the base.
Yeah, but I usually check courier, like, at any stage in the game.
It's early morning. It's 9 in the morning.
Oh, well. It was still really cool.
It was incredibly cool. It was.
I think
that was incredible.
That particular black hole secured compLexity the win.
It was a 3-man black hole, and that was it.
That was at a point when a hero was dead actually without buyback on top of that. So if Zafreak didn't land that particular black hole,
that was insane.
I think they could have potentially just been counteracts, and the game might have had a completely different outcome to what it did. But MVP. Again, the Naga Siren, like, KP played a great game. I can't really take anything away from him. To be honest, I think that most of the reason they were behind was mechanical mistakes. Like, for instance, that fight in the woods where they tried to save Nuts and March like snowballs, and then he misses his dazzle to try to put him inside, and then he also suicides. And then there was, like, KP... Wow. He goes in and tries to kill Moon in, like, a 1v5, and then he trades his life because he cancels his song. Like, there's just... There was a multitude of things that could have gone better mechanically for MVP. But, I mean, you get another game to go. You know, you can shake it off. These are BO2s. You don't have to win, like, 2 games in a row to take a best-of-3 series or something like that. So we'll see what MVP are bringing in Game 2.
Yeah, absolutely. So, ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. MVP.Phoenix versus compLexity will be on its way in just a few minutes. And if the first game was anything to go by, I'm sure it's going to be quite a spectacle. So myself and Draskell will see you guys very, very shortly. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the International 2015 Group Stages here with the second game in the two-game series here between MVP.Phoenix and compLexity Gaming with myself, ODPixel, and Draskell. First game, what a game, but at the end of the day, compLexity Gaming did end up taking it, Andy.
Yeah, it was one of those games where I'm looking at it on paper, and I'm going through it in my head and watching, you know, the mental replay, right? And I'm thinking to myself, MVP really should have just won that game. There were points where I saw Moon Meander's item progression. He goes like Orchid, he gets Book. I'm like, okay, yeah, you know, it's pretty good items, right? Then he buys a Vlad's, and then for the next 10 minutes, nothing happens. Like, they're not able to push high ground. And then all of a sudden, MVP get the third Roshan, which was cheese, when compLexity still hadn't really broken inside of their base. And then Kuo decides that he wants to YOLO inside of the enemy woods, get picked off. He drags his team into a horrible team fight. They get wiped. And then there was just like a whole bunch of mistakes after that kind of just made it slip away from MVP. Now, keep in mind, MVP were actually behind, even though they got 2 kills at the very start of the game, just because they had a very greedy lineup on compLexity, right? They had their Enigma farm. They had Moon Meander in the offlane. He was actually getting pretty decent farm too. But MVP with KP and his Naga Siren, like, he was keeping the dream alive in that game. So if MVP can somehow, some way, not put themselves in such bad teamfight positions, I don't see any reason why they can't take a game off compLexity.
Absolutely not, yeah. Looking at this game, I don't think you can call it either way. It's certainly going to be a very, very close one, and should be a very exciting one indeed as well. I mean, that first game, how long was that? God, it came up to about a good 50 minutes.
I think it was around 50 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, it was a pretty intense matchup. And, well, first pick for MVP.Phoenix. This time they're going to grab themselves the Shadow Fiend. Hero that is sometimes banned earlier on, but of course, when you're playing up against MVP again, we're seeing compLexity ban out that bounty. They really don't want to get them to get their hands on that. So, Shadow Fiend, first pick, pretty yeah, standard, pretty strong as ever.
We haven't seen it much though. A lot of teams actually prioritize banning Shadow Fiend first phase, like every single game. I think between the games that you and I have cast together, this is actually the first game that I've seen Shadow Fiend at all. Right, and of course this is only the 4th game total, right, at TI, because we cast.
No, we did 3. We did 3 yesterday. Best of 3.
Yeah, it's 5th game.
Yeah, 5th game with them.
So this is the first one we'll get to see Shadow Fiend ourselves and compLexity. They answer with a Tusk. This is a hero that MVP themselves favored pretty highly that we saw. March plays it a heck of a lot. Now, the one difference between picking Tusk now is because Shadow Fiend is one of those heroes that is a punishable mid. Take, for instance, yesterday us watching that Viper mid played by Ush when Archon were playing up against MVP. MVP just like punished that pick so hard. Shadow Fiend is kind of the same. But MVP have plenty of time to adapt to the laning phase, and after having seen the Tusk first pick and them being familiar with the hero themselves, they should be able to deal with that.
I mean, what do you then pick up in response to that? Do you pick up something like an Earthshaker hero that's going to be able to sit around mid for a period and be there with defense?
Shaker is really nice to have against Tusk for a multitude of reasons. One, he can sit very far away, so you're never really going to be a snowball target, and if you are, then, well, that just means you're not going on the Shadow Fiend, right? So in the laning phase, you can just sit there, be a nuisance, make sure the Shadow Fiend gets his good early game on. The other thing about Earthshaker is the obvious reason of a snowball coming in and they get out, you time all of your abilities very well, then you can just like drop a huge AoE stun combo on a snowball, and then all of a sudden the heroes just die. Now, we don't really see a whole lot of that. Like, typically when Tusk players play the hero, they realize that a snowball is an all-in, right? It's like, when I go in, I'm in. I'm not running away. I got to get my kill, and then maybe I get away. So we see a lot less of the whole like 4 or 5 man snowball unless they know that they're outnumbering their opponent. But we are going to see the Shaker. We're now into the second ban phase now, MVP.Phoenix. They take out the Dazzle, a hero that you and I both quite like, I think.
Yeah, it's great fun to watch and great with the Tusk as well. We saw MVP.Phoenix do themselves with the Tusk in the first game, so yeah, you take it out, especially. When you got someone like a Jara as well, and you're a hero that's going to be doing a lot of big spread damage, but he's a little bit susceptible to being blown up, especially against something like an SF in the mid game. So having something like a Dazzle to top him up would have been very, very nice for this side. And they're going to ban out the Darks here as well here. Which, I mean, they don't think it's going to be an offlane Tusk?
It could be either way. I mean, honestly, Darkseer is one of those heroes that's so flexible that even if you wanted to put him in the jungle, you could. I mean, for crying out loud, compLexity just ran a jungle hero last game. And in this patch, like 6.84, as it's developed, jungle heroes have become less and less prevalent because of the abundance of like 2-1-2 lanes. So you have your dual offlane that punishes a jungle really hard because they can either A, invade the jungle and just kill the jungling hero, or they just pressure the safe lane so hard that your jungle suddenly becomes not worth it because your safe lane hero or like your 1v2 hero is just getting owned, right? So because of that, like compLexity, they're one of the few teams who I've seen be able to do that and get away with it. Now it is draft based, of course, and I believe the Enigma was either 4th or
It was 5th pick.
Yeah, it was 4th
pick.
or 5th pick last game. So 5th pick means that they already knew, after having seen the entirety of the lineup of MVP, that they could do it. Now here, it's a bit trickier. But again, Darkseer is flexible enough to where if he wants to go to a lane, he can. And if he wants to jungle, he can also do that. So I still think banning it out is good when there's no actual mech hero out yet.
We're going for the Crystal Maiden. And you've got to be honest with this hero. I'm trying to think of teams that have been picking it at the moment. Obviously, Secret, you know, Puppy. He's a big fan of the hero. I mean, other than Secret, where else have we been seeing the Crystal Maiden? Not many places.
It's one of those heroes that it's kind of like a jack of all trades, right? So you can jungle with it. It's actually pretty fast.
Oh.
You have the aura to make sure that you're giving your team a little bit of a boost in the laning phase, but the ulti for me is actually what makes the hero kind of ridiculous in some games, because you kind of have to save a disable for that ult, because if you don't, and you get like even relatively good RNG, you're just like straight up killing core positions. If you get lucky, they can die within seconds. So she is actually like very threatening during the mid late game, especially because she can secure her own farm. And if you're assuming an easy off lane, then it also means that you can just sit in that jungle, right? Like you don't have to sit in lane and like try to zone. But with a Spirit Breaker coming out, I think the MVP.Phoenix want to force the issue and make the Crystal Maiden sit in that lane. And also keep in mind, MVP, they've taken out the Winter Wyvern in the first ban, so they're not going to have like that really strong zoning hero that Fly played in the previous match.
I mean, I kind of, at this point, don't you pick up the Fly Rubik? Going to be pretty good in this matchup, pretty good in laning.
But he's so bad at zoning. That's the thing.
But he's great against the SB as well with the telekinesis.
It's a good disable. I do agree with that. And there's some pretty, like, you can steal Fissure, that's okay, but that's like the only spell that I think is really good in terms of what I would want to steal. I think they need another hero who can actually zone, because if the Crystal Maiden is forced to sit in lane, then you're not abusing the ability of jungling, which means that you're not playing greedy. And I think they like playing greedy on compLexity. Okay. And this is going to be the Clockwork off lane. It could mean that Tusk is going to be playing support as well as the Crystal Maiden. It could also mean that, I mean, heck, they could do a dual off lane, but I think it's less likely because they haven't seen the safe lane carry yet. They've only seen off lane and a Shaker. And Shaker can get a kill on even the most durable of offlaners as long as you land like a good block, right? So if you block somebody off, it doesn't matter who you are. You could still potentially just die. So I think compLexity are still reserving their judgment as if they want to go for a 2-1-2 or if they want to try to pick up another hero as a support instead of the Tusk here.
Okay, so 4th pick now for the side of MVP.Phoenix. We've got what we're meant to be their offlaner. They still need their position 1 and a secondary support. I mean, I guess the question is, who do you pick to go head-to-head and carry a game against the Gyrocopter? Obviously, with Naga being banned out, or hero that we've seen KP fail. I'm trying to think, what else have we seen KP play? What did he play yesterday?
KP, was it QO who played the PA, or was it KP? I can't remember if it was QO or KP.
Did they put KP in the mid lane for that game?
It might have been QO. Actually, no, it was QO.
Yeah, because wasn't that when KP did safe lane Viper?
Yeah, that was definitely QO. I mean, you can pick a whole lot of things, to be honest, because Gyrocopter is already kind of dealt with just because of Shadow Fiend.
Yeah.
I mean, Shadow Fiend does a ton of physical DPS, and he's a natural BKB buyer. And that's another thing about compLexity's lineup, is once you get BKB, those heroes don't do much. Like, you're relying on Gyro pretty damn heavily once BKBs come out. So I'm thinking right now, MVP.Phoenix, they have, like, a ton of options. They can even go back for the QO Lina. I think that Lina's, like, you can farm at safe lane. You can just pick Bloodseeker if you want.
Okay. I mean, obviously, Bloodseeker, you were talking about the CM Ultimate. Bloodbright, pretty nice against the Crystal Maiden.
It is delayed, though. So
it is, I guess.
Not like
you've got to be kind of... I mean, I guess you can scare her away from setting up base. And setting up camp with the ult, you can force her away from the team fight. But, I mean, Bloodseeker, obviously, a pretty rampant hero in pub games, and now on the competitive scene, picking it up in this situation.
It's a little bit... Okay, so I'm kind of torn. Normally, I would see a Bloodseeker and always say, like, okay, yeah, this hero's good. And the hero is strong. It's just a matter of what they're up against. Like, Bloodseeker is not good against a lot of disables, because typically you Blood Rage yourself, or you Blood Rage the person that you Rupture if you're outnumbering them, right? But if you go in and you use Blood Rage on yourself, and then you just get stunned, or like put inside a cogs, you just explode. Like, you don't actually have a way of dealing damage with the amount of disables I think that compLexity have. And the other thing, too, is they're running triple melee against Clockwork. Like, that seems really sketchy to me. That's the only thing about their lineup that I would say doesn't really seem that great, is you have 3 melee heroes up against Clock. Now, it can be seen as kind of a good thing, because Spirit Breaker and Bloodseeker are both frontline heroes, and you need people to defend your Shadow Fiend. So MVP could be thinking with the idea that, okay, we need to make sure that we actually just have a bunch of heroes who deter attention away from our Shadow Fiend, so he can actually deal damage in the fights, which is not a bad idea by any stretch. I just look at this, and I'm thinking to myself, that Bloodseeker is going to have a really hard time getting in. And the Spirit Breaker and the Seeker are most likely going to be very easy targets, because Gyro does a ton of damage if you're in close range. They got Lina now as well.
You've got to be careful when you
their
burst yourself.
Their burst is insane.
You're going to get blown up. It's certainly true.
I actually like compLexity's draft much better than MVP's.
Oh, we'll
that's
see.
just my opinion. Like,
maybe with this final pick, it will all become clear. Everything will fall into place.
Yeah.
MVP.Phoenix with this.
What if they just jungle Bloodseeker and they pick another carry?
Would you like it if they did that? Do you think that would be... No,
okay,
they're not going to do that. It's disruptive.
I thought it would have been funny because if you look at compLexity's lineup, they could actually still go aggressive with their heroes. So it's definitely like... It would have been very all-in if they picked a jungler. But it's just going to be the Seeker position 1.
Okay, and I mean, with the Disrupt as well, I guess another thing that's going to be able to help against the just in these team fights where you can have Tusk, Gyro, CM heading straight in, Clockwork as well, hookshotting in, someone who's going to have the control and going to be able to help Phoenix counter it. And look for a pretty impressive team fight potential themselves, of course, with the Shaker, with the Bloodseeker running around. There's definitely potential. I feel from both lineups, and I think we're going to have a fun game on our hands here with the second game in this series between Phoenix and compLexity Gaming. At the moment, compLexity Gaming with the victory in Game 1. And we'll just get ourselves underway, and we'll see, of course, if Phoenix are able to take this one. Both teams will walk away with 1 point each. compLexity, if they're able to take the full clean sweep, they get themselves 3 points in this position of the tournament here in the group stages at the International 2015. And well, here we go, Draskell. Let's see what we've got going on in terms of lanes. I guess it's pretty much what we're going to expect to see straight off from the draft. Solo lane Spirit, solo lane Clock, and safe lane tri-lanes from both sides, would you imagine?
I'm guessing that's going to be the case. If anyone could go aggressive, I think it would be compLexity, because they have the Tusk for initiation. You can go like CM, Tusk, Gyro, and if you snowball on that, and you get a Frostbite into a Rocket Barrage, the hero just dies, like 100% dead. I'm wondering, do MVP... Actually, do they go aggressive here? I mean, obviously they're walking around because they want to try to get vision, and they're looking for a potential kill, but right now KP is, I think, in a spot out Moon Meander there. They definitely pinged it. Or maybe they're just pinging it because they assume he might be in the area. Okay, he can...
Oh, they got the snowball off. This is bad for KP. Straight in the hole with the Cox, the Rocket Barrage. There's nowhere for the Bloodseeker to run. That's going to be first blood going to Swindle Melons on the Lina. And, well, what a way to start the game there for compLexity.
That's
MVP,
so bad.
They went bottom. I think the Bloodseeker, they did see them. They didn't see the Gyro. I think he just might have seen the Clock work and assumed it's just Clock on his own on the solo offlane.
Well... It's a lot of teams do that though. Like it's too hard to just say, okay, I'm fine. I can just go over here and explore. And it's very tempting to get the information, you know, just seeing like if he placed a ward or where he's going to place it. But I don't think it's ever really worth giving away first blood for. Just because how many times have we seen that, right? Like every single game, it seems like somebody just dies because they're trying to get a little bit too much information in the first, like, I don't know, 20 or 30 seconds into the game.
And off the back of that as well, interestingly enough, Bloodseeker's actually going to go down to the bottom lane. We're going to have KP here, and they are going to send, of course, March up to the top lane. At the moment, in the jungle, Febby there with Fly. Fly's going to find him out there and hit him away. And it'll be interesting to see how these lanes sell out at the moment, because there's a little bit of a mess. Top lane, we've got Zafreak and Zizzy on this Gyrocopter Tusk combination. You've got Fly at the moment hovering around the jungle, and is Moon Meander here on the safe lane solo Clock, dealing with the Bloodseeker.
Yeah, the Clock 1v1 against Seeker. This is normally a matchup where you say a lot of melee heroes against Clock just don't do well. Seeker is not in that category. He actually just beats everything. Like any melee hero, doesn't matter who it is, as long as your last hitting is on point, you should win this lane.
And talking about winning lanes, towards the mid lane, we've got both Febby on the Disruptor and Nuts on the Earthshaker hanging around here, maybe looking to try and help QO to see if they can get some kind of Fissure to start something off onto Swindle Melons. But Swindle, he's got to be careful here. Maybe this is it, Nuts. He's looking for that Fissure desperately. Swindlemelons, he's aware that this is going on. Top lane, just trying to pressure onto Spirit Breaker here, pushing the lane in as much as they can. And again, the Fisher did come out. Kyo looking for the raises there, does hit a couple. I mean, MVP are committing a lot to try and win this lane for the Shadow Fiend.
It's very normal play, though. Like, you always want to make sure that your Shadow Fiend, especially against somebody like Lina, Lina dominates SF. Like, every time you go for a CS, you're going to eat a Dragon Slave, you're going to eat, like, 1 or 2 auto attacks. It's just a nightmare to have to deal with that in general. So it's no surprise that MVP are focusing on making sure that QO gets off to a good start, especially considering he's played very solidly throughout TI so far.
There's a freak coming in. He's blocked them both off here with the Ice Shards. Swindlemelons is going to start moving in now. There was the Fisher that was holding him back. The Snowball coming out. And it's actually going to be March, though, charging straight in for Swindlemelons. Febby and QO chasing this one down 2 minutes in. Right up the lane. There's one bash. We're going to need another. No, it doesn't matter because they've got the glimpse. Bringing the Lina back. And that is going to be them taking down Swindlemelons here by the Ancients. I think they can find a free Q as well. March, he has got a charge, but Nuts is giving him the vision. Do they want to go for more here? No, it looks like he's going to head back. Ice Shards is just going to be thrown out. But, I mean, that's the aggression paying off there. MVP having pretty much 4 heroes on the mid lane. Oh, damn it. Bottom lane. Fly turns up. Helps out Moomy by the looks of it.
Yeah, it was a very needed gank, too. Bloodseeker, again, he's very, very difficult to deal with. And the reactions so far coming in from both teams, they're trying to just emphasize on giving the heroes who have lane weaknesses a little bit of an advantage. And the nice thing about compLexity for their team is when Moon hits 6, he doesn't have to worry about his laning phase anymore. You know, he can just look for kills. And there's a lot of heroes that he can kill in this lane. And middle lane, we're also going to see the Shadow Fiend here get picked off by the combination of the Tusk and the Lina.
Indeed, and that was still with the 2 supports around, but obviously as soon as that Snowball came out, Nuts wasn't able to get that Fisher there in time. Febby hanging around as well. So in terms of the lanes in the early game, it's certainly looking pretty good for compLexity.
It's kind of the strength that you get when you pick a hero like Tusk. And again, like Shadow Fiend, he's very, very easy to punish, and we're seeing why. Just getting like 1 double stun on him. If the Shaker is not in like perfect position to just peel straight up, the SF cannot live. There's just no way.
On top lane, Zafreak's actually come up here on the Tusk. Maybe to see if he can do anything against March. March, pretty damn tanky, 800 HP to get through, 6 armor at this point. It's going to be a hard kill to try and get if they wanted to. Nuts just heading back, looking to create some stacks, and some stacks he certainly is creating here for the Shadow Fiend. So SF, of course, is going to have that to fall back to and enable him to catch, well, I say catch up with the Lina, but the space has kind of been created, and 20 for 5 against the 12 for 3 is not looking that bad for the SF in the mid lane anymore at all.
compLexity haven't really put as much pressure on mid. Like the first 2 or 3 waves, I think, MVP had their supports sitting there, and not just one, but sometimes both of them, just making sure that QO would be able to get some souls. Because once that happens, then it's not so hard to actually just win that lane. And March is getting it pressured a little bit here.
March even thinking he might have needed to charge away there. Does end up cancelling it. And there's going to be a bit of a wraparound here, in fact, from KP and Febby. KP hasn't got level 6, he's just sitting at the level 5. So Swindlemelon's actually going pretty deep here because he's not even got a Laguna Blade himself. He's just trying to trade, and that deepness might end up not going the way he wanted to because there's a charge coming in. He does have a salve, but KP moving forward as well. Swindlemelon's up on the high ground. They've got a kinetic field to hold him in place. Nowhere for the Lina to run, and Swindlemelons will fall here again from what was actually a 5-man rotation on the mid lane. They do not like Lina.
That is some serious hate, actually. But they understand like what the early game goal is for their team. They know the Bloodseeker is going to need minimal help, and if worst case comes to worst case, he can just go back to jungle and then just, you know, hit creeps, and there's not going to be too much pressure coming his way. And since Moon Meander's still not 6,
bottom lane, KP and Febby coming in with the wraparound here. Moon, is he going to be able to fight himself out of this one? Kinetic field has been dropped down. KP trying to go in, but the battery assault doing quite a bit. Now with the cogs, KP getting low. He could actually be in trouble. He needs to run away. There's a rocket flare available in a couple of seconds. It's only level 1 though. I don't think it's going to be enough. He's going to try and tap Febby. The rocket flare. Oh, KP's incredibly low. Febby as well, sitting on 7 HP. Moon, he's going to guess what? He gets 2. It's a double kill for Moon Meander. What the hell?
Why did he turn around? Febby?
March gets
why?
Up. Oh man, easy double the kill there for the Clockwork. Wow. Dota 2.
We talked about the mechanical mistakes of MVP in the last game. Are we going to be seeing more of the same? Are we going to be seeing them make those kinds of mistakes? Because there is absolutely no way they were killing him with a Disruptor auto attack. Like, come on. He has treads, he's got Stout Shield, Wand. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's nerves, but that was definitely not the play.
Oh, Melons. He's going to get the stunner onto QO. He has got a Laguna Blade, but QO on the high ground is going to be okay. Charge coming through from March. He's actually going to commit here for this one, going straight in. Is he going to follow up looking for the bashes? Because the fight set's going on here. Oh, the snowball coming out. Fly has actually fallen here, so it's going to be Tusk going in on pretty low health on his own. Zafreek's going to lose his life as well here in the dire jungle. Both of the heroes giving themselves up, and the rest of compLexity not able to do anything to back them up. So MVP now bringing the scoreboard to 5-5, getting themselves a couple of kills back their way.
Well, it's really good that MVP actually managed to
Swindle
get
Melons.
something there. He's only got mana for one stun.
He's okay, he's got Laguna Blade as well. He's looking to use it, but there's 3 heroes here. March does have a charge as well. QO doesn't have the mana for the raises, but he's going to look for the punches here. Cornar's coming in. Zizzy trying to turn this around now with a snowball onto March. Catching him in place will bring him down. March is down for 20 seconds. And now they're actually going to find the stack on Zizzy here with a flat cannon. He's got 3 hits less. They're going to be able to steal this. QO coming in. He's a bit peed off. I would be if I was him. This is a fair bit of CS. He gets a bit there with a final raise. 4 heroes of compLexity in the jungle at the moment, and now, KP coming in with a rupture as he sits in place and salves up. He knows what he's doing. He's all good to go, and Zafreek, he's got a snowball available. They might be able to turn this one onto QO. Charge onto Zizzy. Rupture is now worn off. And the question is, do they want to go back in on this one MVP? And I don't think they do. I think March? He's going to stop this now. He doesn't want to go any further. And the warding as well from compLexity here, giving them fantastic vision here on the dire jungle. And bottom lane, meanwhile, Moon Meander, Febby. That's another kill for Moon here, and now March coming in. Moon Meander's going to hang around. No, Moon, you're not going to do this, are you? Oh, March incredibly low. Moon's going to back himself away as the tower hits come through. Nuts is there with a Fisher. Will find the kill, but Moon nearly getting away with it again on this bottom lane, but he does get the disruptor kill.
He's doing so much work for his team.
Yeah.
Like, that in of itself, he just forced 3 heroes down to his lane, gets a solo kill, and he actually almost got a double again. Like, March almost died too, but like the amount of pressure that he's creating for his team and just being like level 8 with just some treads.
That's insane.
He's getting too much done on the map.
In.
And the other thing too is he's actually got a lot of CS as well. He's 3rd highest. So he's farming, he's creating space, he's doing everything. Like he's actually playing like a position 1 Clockwork that's also like ganking. I don't know, it's
Swindle.
weird.
Can he do this? He hasn't quite got the mana. He's got the bottle charges if he wants to bottle up for the second to get the Dragon Slave in with the Light Strike Array. And backup is inbound as well. Zafreek and Zizzy moving in smoked up. They're going to get the vision to get the snowball in onto QO. QO's in a lot of trouble.
Oh no!
The ice shards! The ice shards! Oh, it doesn't matter. The
him.
cooldown clips him on the edge. That was nearly close to a bit of a mess up there from compLexity, but they find the kill nonetheless. Fish onto KP. KP using it on Zizzy, dragging him back there with a glimpse as well. Fly going in. Look, he's ready for this, and he's going to find it there with the help of Swindle Melons on the disruptor. Second pick off there for compLexity. And I gotta say, a lot of action so far in this game. 9 minutes in, 9 for 6. And Moon, he's got a hook shot. Nuts. Oh, Nuts. If he can land this. Oh, Moon, he's just a little bit too short. Nuts will be able to get himself out.
That was a nice stun actually by Swindle.
Oh.
He guessed where he was, but he was just a little bit too
KP.
slow.
He did find the pick up there onto the Crystal Maiden with the help of March. So again, MVP finding something in response. Coming up to 9.5 minutes in. Let's have a look at the graphs. What kind of difference are we seeing? It's about 2k favoring compLexity in terms of XP. And coming up to 3k in terms of gold. Still kind of close, but compLexity, they've pretty much held a lead and they've kept it. And I got to say, a lot of it is down to Moon.
Yeah, Moon's played a phenomenal early game. His laning phase was a bit rough, but again, that's to be expected. And as soon as he had the opportunity to make anything happen, like he picks up a double kill, he gets 1 more on the Febby after he's going to bottom lane. And that's kind of one of the problems when you're playing these supports who really need level 6 up against a Clockwork, is very often a team will give you a solo lane to farm. And then you farm that lane until you're 6, so you have your Static Storm, you know, you get your Echo up, and then you just play from there.
Zizzy.
Okay, Ziz, this is not your woods, dude.
He is all alone. Nobody there beside him. He's going to drop the cooldown. QO's moving in as well. Zizzy trying to do what he can in response, but isn't going to find anything. Does a fair bit of damage. It's not enough. Yeah. And that is, the Jara getting caught out of place and caught out of luck.
We were talking about the Clockwork and his function in this game, and his anticipation is that the support heroes will be solo farming lanes because MVP want to prioritize getting those heroes experience. So just by being there, yeah, Moon, he's ready.
There's a fair few around here, though. They do know because they've got fantastic vision here, compLexity. March actually charging forward here, but the snowball coming out. They're trying to counter this one. They're caught him in the cogs with the battery assault as well, bringing March low. Trying to get the Nether Strike up, but the battery assault is stopping any hope of that happening. But they turn it around with the raises. Double kill for QO. Fantastic control from Febby there with the Static Storm and the Kinetic Field, turning in for a 2-for-1. Looks like MVP might be able to find themselves the tower here as well. Moving in, they might want to try and find Zizzy. There's your Fisher. There's an Echo Slam available on this Earthshaker. Here we go with the Requiem Souls. QO getting low. That will drop. Disruptor's going to fall as well. well. There's your Echo Slam. Jaro goes down. Slap onto Fly, but Fly with a freezing field. Trying to find the kill. Will get it. Double kill for the Crystal Maiden. The only survivor of this bloodbath here in the mid lane gets herself and rightfully so, because KP there moving at the speed of light was looking for the Maiden herself. But wow, let's have a look at the fight recap there. And well, it's only catching the last few kills, but again, compLexity getting a fair bit out of that tower defense.
Freezing Field confirmed, pretty good spell. It also instantly deals damage too. So like, even if your RNG is really bad, I think minimum it just hits at least once to everybody as soon as you start channeling the spell. So just showcasing there why Crystal Maiden can be pretty important. It's a support who kind of demands the attention of the enemy team. As soon as you see that spell cast, you have to deal with it. Like, you either have to run or you have to kill or stun the Crystal Maiden somehow. And unfortunately for MVP, they did not have anything left. I will say though that the combination they had mid with like the Static Storm and the raises was very well done. Yeah. And I think the MVP are actually playing, like they're getting things together a bit.
Let's see if compLexity can find something more here. Moving in with the smoke. Moon has got that hook shot. March is going to walk into it here, and here we go. Straight in. Moon moving in for the Cogs if he needs to. March going to be held in place here by the Crystal Maiden. Kinetic Field coming out. The Static Storm drops on Zizzy as well. It doesn't matter. Moon's got the completed Blade Mail. Finds the kill on Spirit Breaker. Now it's a Freak with the Snowball onto Nuts. They bring down the Earthshake as well. The Ice Shards trapping up QO. QO, he's trying to turn it around with the raises, but he's almost certainly going to go down into the punches. He's getting low, and he will finally go down. Double kill here. Oh, KP there moving in, taking down the Gyrocopter. Now picks himself up an Invis Room, which will allow him to get himself out because the rest of his team is dead. 4 for 2 there. And KP just zipping himself away. But again, another trade that compLexity are going to be incredibly happy with. The XP and gold swing incredibly apparent there. And apologies, we are just having this quick pause. And the graph as well is not quite ticked in, of course, but we are certainly seeing this is compLexity's game to lose at the moment. They have got full control over MVP.
Well, we talked about how good their team was in terms of aggressive potential, right? You have Clockwork, you have Tusk, you have Lina, you have Gyro, CM. All of these heroes are very capable of fighting during the early game, and they have a lot of disable. Like, you have Snowball, Clockwork, you can put somebody inside of Cogs, you got Frostbite, and then you also have Lina stun. So they can just go in. If they find a hero, doesn't matter who it is, you won't be tanky enough to live. And I'm fairly certain at this point, QO doesn't even... Okay, he does have his mech finished, but he didn't have it for that particular fight. So instead of being able to pop the mech and maybe turn things, he didn't really have the HP boost that he needed to make it through. And this is even considering that QO had a lot of babysitting in the middle lane. Like a 13-minute mech in treads, it's not bad. It's just not really that fast, and that's all attributed to the fact that compLexity are just pressuring everywhere, like non-stop. And we talked about Moon too. He's already got that Blade Mail going. Like, I think a lot of this game is just because of him. Yeah,
some really nice iron pickups coming in 13 minutes in for compLexity. Swindle, he's got his completed jewels here as well, so looking very good for him. Top of the net worth, 6.1k. Interestingly enough to note, though, it is the Bloodseeker and both farming relatively well there, being at the top of the board. KP at the moment, what's he got in terms of items? Well, he's picked himself up an Ogre Club. I mean, does he just go for that kind of race car S and Y here, or does he need to go for the straight-up BKB?
I think if he doesn't get BKB, he just dies.
Yeah.
Like, he hasn't opted to go Blade Mail, and I think you go S and Y when you have Blade Mail because you want to increase your effective HP pool. So the Blade Mail actually becomes better, right? So the more health you have, the more you can reflect with Blade Mail. That's the typical ideology when you build that item. But because he hasn't gotten a Blade Mail and he went Midas, I really think he's just going to go straight BKB.
All right, we'll see what they're able to do here as they smoke up Nuts. Has the Echo Slam. KP's got the Rupture. Everything's available. Static Storm as well. 3 heroes are head towards the mid lane. Oh, Fly, this ward. This may just spell the end of Fly's life. Everything getting thrown down onto the Crystal Maiden. He just sits there. He desperately wanted the creep. He does get it, so it's something. It's something. He does get the gold for it, but he pays with his life. He tanks the gank.
Yeah, it's not too bad for your Crystal Maiden to die for something like that. It could be a lot worse. You could get a core picked off, and when that kind of stuff happens, typically a team will just... They'll transition from going from a gank to just pushing a tower, and right now compLexity have done a very nice job. They have not lost a single outer tier tower at this point. So losing a Crystal Maiden, I think it's fine.
Bottom lane, the ping's coming out. KP here with the defense, working his way towards that Mithril Hammer. Middle lane, Zafreak and Zizzy will be able to claim this tower. More gold here for the Gyro, who's now got that helm on top of the phase boots, and Aquila. I mean, the Gyro himself, does he need a BKB up against MVP's lineup? Well, I get with the Earthshaker and the Gyro, well, the Disruptor as well. I guess it would be the item to get.
It's still good. I mean,
can he
BKB...
go S and Y this game?
Yeah, SLY is okay. BKB is also okay. I think maybe he goes SLY.
Surprise Spirit Breaker here. And,
he's out of there. That's a bail moment. Yeah, but I think either one is fine. I think BKB is the safe choice because you already have so much damage on your team, and you know the MVP aren't going to get BKBs anytime soon. So if you want to rely on your magical damage output for complexity, and you're looking at Gyro and thinking, I could probably just buy BKB and be super safe, or I can buy SOI and deal a little bit more damage, I think probably the former would be a little bit better.
Moving around pretty much as a 5-man here, the side of MVP. Roshan is up. I guess neither side really has the best potential at the moment to take it quick enough to attempt it. So.
MVP can kill it, but I think complexity have a significantly worse Roshan team.
Looks like neither team that interested at the moment. Fly his farm, so it looks like Fly's going to be going for this Midas on the CM. He's coming up to 1k gold on top of the Gloves of Haste. So we'll see how that one works out for him. Swindlemelons at the moment just hiding here in the tree line. The rest of his team looking to get a bit of momentum going on the top lane. I do have TPs at the ready. Blink now completed on Tusk. And here we go already. So Moon coming back, comes back to the tier 2 with the hook shot available. Point booster picked up on his road to that Aghanim
They're going to see
Scepter.
him. They just placed a ward there.
It's going to be very hard for him to catch anyone out here.
That ward definitely saw him, like 100%. Yeah, they're already leaving. They don't even want to push anymore. They know it's not worth the risk. They're respecting the fact that complexity, their 5 versus 5 team fight is very good, unless MVP somehow get like a crazy static storm
top lane. QO's come quite far out on his own here. And he's got the mech, but I don't think the mech's going to save him in this situation, and it certainly isn't.
It's
Gyro
so much damage.
Getting the kill there, and wow, I think QO just getting a bit too ballsy there.
Well, we talked about that combination earlier, like Gyrocopter with Tusk. Like you guarantee the Rocket Barrage and the cooldown damage, because once you snowball, you get a stun, you shards, you stun again because of punch, and then by that time the cooldown's already landed. You're getting like 2 Rocket Barrages for free, you're getting a cooldown and the full Tusk combo. That is like, what, 1,500 damage? Something like that? Like, it's insane. And that's not it. That's like including auto attacks, of course. But yeah, that combination is pretty silly.
KP just over 100 gold away from that BKB, so we'll see what the amount of havoc he's able to create in these fights. And to be fair, looking at the lineup, there isn't a lot they're going to be able to do against Bloodseeker running around. I guess they've got the hook shot to try and control him, hold him in position. I mean, things like the ice shards as well, if you can get them in a handy position, they can work in your favor. And the fight's already kicking off. Is Nuts getting low. Fly there should be able to finish this one with a final right click. CM taking the kill. And now Moomiander moving in here with a haste rune, trying to chase down Febby with a battery assault. He's going to throw down the static storm, but it doesn't matter. He's caught the freak, but that is it for the time being. Roach onto Zizzy, but Zizzy's going to try and find place. Here's your BKB as KP going to work onto Zizzy. Can he find the kill? Yes, he can. He's going to look for more potentially. Fly's trying to run himself away. Moomiander and Swindlemelons are able to take down QO here on the Shadow Fiend, making the trade a 4-for-2. And again, complexity coming out on top of this one. KP is on his way back to the base. I mean, KP did manage to take down the Gyro, but whilst he was doing that, the rest of his team was just getting absolutely slaughtered by complexity.
SF just died twice in a row. Like, QO dies top, he immediately respawns. He put out an 18-soul Requiem, which really didn't do much. I think he was just doing it mostly for damage reduction, and then he just dies again. So the Bloodseeker right now is kind of the shining hope for MVP. It seems to me that they rely very heavily on KP, like every single game, to just be like, please God, carry us. Because right now it's just like, everything else is not going well for them.
Oh, and here we go. They're going to go for some more aggression here. As March charging straight in. Swindle's got the yours. He's going to be able to get it off as well. Is he going to try and turn this one around? No, they're going to look at this opportunity to just get the hell out of there. Fly heading up the river. I think Swindlemelon's coming back in. Going to get caught out by this Fisher. And just a little glimpse there as well as a freak. Not finding anything. Just keeping each other at bay. I mean, worth noting, CM now does have the Midas. And if you look at the net worth as well, the 3 lowest at the moment are all on the side of MVP. And there's a little bit of a gap here, 1.4k between the Spirit Breaker and the Crystal Maiden. Overall on the graphs as well, that's going to be shown, 7.5k overall, 5k in terms of XP. And here we go. March charging in. Who's he going for? Well, he's looking at Zizzy. He's going to cancel this one. No, the Yule's actually, sorry, holding him in place there. But now Swindlemelons is actually going to get dragged back by the Glimpse. Caught in the middle of this all. They're going for Swindlemelons on the Lina. Getting her low. Is she going to be able to do anything in return? No, the Echo Slam will finish her off. Swindlemelons actually buying back, realizing that he might need to get himself back in this fight to help his team turn it. Complexity will be able to bring down QO on the Shadow Fiend. There'll be a TP out here from the Spirit Breaker. Everybody else getting themselves the hell out of there. MVP. They lose QO, but they do kill Swindlemelons, and they do force him to buy back.
Melon's bought back. Are they rushing? Is that why he bought back?
Well, maybe. I kind of felt that they wanted to continue fighting. I mean, Freak chasing them incredibly far here with the ice shards. But maybe he just felt the fight would go on long enough that he could get himself back in. You know, of course, they've still got the tier 2 here. It was going on fairly closely, the fight, but it wasn't the case. MVP, I feel that they pulled out at the right time there.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, after seeing the buyback, there's definitely no reason for them to stay. I just thought it was weird that he bought back in the first place.
Oh, they might find this kill, though, onto KP. And, well, KP is in a lot of trouble. Flies there as well. KP, he doesn't have the BKB available, and he's going to get taken down there. There's a Freak with the kill. And, oh, Spirit Breaker's suddenly going down as well as Moonmeander. Look at this guy. He's going ham. Nuts is going to go down as well. It's just Febby left alive with QO that's only just spawned. And you had 3 heroes on the deck, none of them with the gold available for buyback. And it looks like compLexity will simply take this time to maybe try and get this tier 2 here. The creep wave actually is pretty far back, so they've got to hold on for that one. But still, again, MVP just making these mistakes.
Well, it's kind of understandable that March got picked off because Swindle actually bought back. He bought a Blink Dagger, and then he just beelined all the way across the map. Like, the pathing that he took was relatively unexpected. And if you looked at the warding a couple of minutes ago that MVP had, all of their vision was essentially inside of compLexity's jungle. And the way that Melons walked, he went into fog, basically, and you could expect that he might have just been farming a jungle camp, you know? Like, it was very weird that he decided to make that particular pathing. So I understand why March died, but it seems to me like MVP, they're not really ever on the same page. Like, people are splitting up, and then when they take a team fight, like, they're not strong enough in of itself. Like, their Shadow Fiend needs BKB desperately. The Bloodseeker is the only one who can really stand inside of the team fight, and I think maybe they should have kind of helped QO out a little bit more than they did, because he's died 7 times. I mean, that's a lot of deaths for a Shadow Fiend, and this is a hero who can still recover very nicely. It's just, they're not letting off the gas. compLexity are constantly looking for fights.
Yeah, absolutely. And you got to remember as well, this was a Shadow Fiend that, for the most part of the early game, had 2 supports by his side in the mid lane. We saw 5-man ganks helping him out mid, but compLexity have just been able to fight past that and bring themselves back on top. We're seeing the very reliable lead in terms of golden XP overall on the graphs. Coming up to 10k now in both respects. And again, as you're saying, it is still KP, top of the net worth. I think MVP still looking to this Bloodseeker, waiting for him to win the game for them.
It's going to be a blood for the blood god. That's pretty much what we're looking at right now. And it needs to be if MVP want to tie up the series and make it a 1-1. But for now...
Fly there with the freezing field. Why not?
Yeah, why not, dude? The thing that's really weird about this is that Fly is able to sit in front of their base. Like, he's getting charged.
He might die for this, though.
Yeah, but even still, like, it doesn't even matter. Like, if he gets a Midas off before he dies, that's a moral victory in of itself.
God, the Midas Fly. Oh,
okay,
no.
He's not going to get the Midas. Oh, they're going to get a turnaround kill, though, probably.
Well, yeah, I mean, Fly sacrifices himself almost certainly. The Disruptor will go down. They are going to look for March here. You know, Swindlemelons, he's pretty speedy. March, ooh,
no
the
vision.
Charge through the tree line. Smart man.
Oh, he's got
Not
it.
smart enough, though, with the blink in the Yule. Swindlemelons catching him out. March is going to go down as well. That's the Laguna Blade of Swindle. Double kill for Yolina. And they Fly, the perfect bait there.
Yeah, that was a pretty sick bait, actually. I wonder if no, I don't think the low ground ward spotted him charging in. But they definitely knew, like, no matter what, they knew that March was charging in. They might have even seen him from lane. And they just bait out their CM and turn around and get 2 kills for it. So even in situations where Fly could be considered a little bit overextended, compLexity still makes something happen out of it. They're not just saying, like, okay, our CM died. It's okay, our CM dies, but we kill a support and we kill the offlaner. Well, I guess in this case he was safe lane. But it's why I really don't like the matchup of Bloodseeker and Spearbreaker against heroes like Clockwork.
Okay.
Because with a Yule stun on Alina and a Clockwork already, and their Spearbreaker not having BKB, like, how is March supposed to do anything? Like, how does he go in against these heroes? Because one hero is going to be BKB'd, and that's going to be KP. If he goes in and one hero is BKB'd, guess what happens? He freaking explodes. He can't do anything at all in this matchup. I honestly think that compLexity may have outdrafted them here.
Here we go. MVP now with the smoke. Let's see if they're able to find a fight. And it's going to benefit them. Moving into the jungle here. Everyone's about on the side of compLexity. It's going to be a tough fight. And well, Fly He spotted this one out, and here we go on the back lines. We're going to look at this. Moomiander going in onto Nuts, making sure the Echo Slam does not do anything to the rest of his team. QO's there as well, trying to fight this one up, and the rest of the team of compLexity moving in as a freak, coming in just in time with the mech to keep Moomiander alive for a little bit. Still falls. It's a 2-for-2 at the moment. The fight is KP a little bit too speedy for them to chase down, and March and QO coming in. They want to continue this, but QO getting caught up by Swindlewell as the Laguna Blade bringing down the Shadow Fiend. March now on the run. KP's going to look straight for the TP. March actually cancelling the charge there, and now it's going to be Zizzy and Zafreak. Swindlemelons as well. They'll bring down the Spirit Breaker. Everyone bar the Bloodseeker falling from the side of MVP, and they're only able to take down the Clock and the Crystal Maiden themselves. And I've got to be honest, looking at Moon, Meander, and Fly, they've really been the big... They're the sacrificial lambs every time. Fly's on the front lines. He says, take me. Moon Meander in that fight, hook-shotting in it and tanking the Echo Slam, ensuring that this Earthshaker couldn't get an initiation. And it's working perfectly for the side.
The thing is, that Shaker, he's being forced into going 4-staff. Like, you don't really want to make 4-staff unless you absolutely have to. And Clockwork is just one of those heroes that the matchup of Clockwork versus Shaker, it's a nightmare. You can't even get a spell off if Battery Assault is used on you and you're stuck inside a cog. So this is his only choice. And that makes you have to play suboptimally, right? Like, ideally, you get Blink and you just go in for a counter initiation, but Moon Meander's been so on point with his hook shots and finding the hero that he needs that there's never been an opportunity for Nuts to really do a whole heck of a lot of anything during these fights. And with that said, Swindle even has his Aghanims done. So this is going to start being like the point where BKBs are supposed to turn the game for MVP. Like QO and the Bloodseeker both having BKB should be like, all right, you know, all the damage on compLexity, a lot of it is magical during the early game. We can now stand and fight. Unfortunately, Ag's Laguna still takes like 80% of QO's health.
It's, yeah. QO is, I mean, even just with the mech of the BKB, it's just not enough health. Oh, Moon. Unfortunately, we're
Caster's Curse.
It doesn't matter. He's got the, you know, with the Ags, you're free to
long.
throw these hooks out left, right, and center, and it doesn't matter if they latch every time. But could have been a potential kill. But still, it doesn't matter. 32 to 20 are the difference now. This is the biggest difference we've seen in a game, I'm pretty sure, at the moment. I mean, 14,000 in both respects, especially at this point of a game. 27 minutes in. compLexity are going to feel very comfortable with where they are at the moment.
It's an uphill struggle for MVP, to say the least. Like, they need to get so much done. Okay, he's
going
going
to
to be
get
forced to
KP here. This is going to be pretty massive. Moon's moving in with a hook shot, looking for it. And there we go. Honing in place the cogs. Keeping Q about. BKB's coming out. KP trying to walk himself around. Moomiander's taking a fair bit. He's caught in place, but the Glimmer Cape, he's got to stand still, keep himself safe. Laguna Blade blowing up KP. That's the danger of blood raging yourself there, my friend. QO falls as well. And now it's the Freak moving forward with the snowball, looking for Nuts. Fly trying to get himself in range. It's going to be a double kill for Swindlemelons as they're actually able to take down the Disruptor as well. They'll find Nuts also. 4 heroes down. It is just going to be March charging himself the hell out of it and saying, nope, I don't want to be a part of that at all. And again, compLexity just cleaning this floor with MVP.
That was worst case scenario for MVP because the one hero that they're relying on is the one who got caught first. So KP had to pop his BKB just to prevent himself from dying in like the first 3 seconds. But during that BKB duration, there was no counterplay coming out from MVP. It's not like the BKB allowed him to deal damage. He BKB'd to run. And when you have to do that as Bloodseeker against these types of heroes, the fight is already lost. As soon as he was the one who got caught out, there was almost no way MVP could have turned that around, especially considering that they have a Shaker who does not have Blink Dagger at 28 minutes in. So that being said, compLexity, they fully utilized their advantage. They've taken mid-racks. They are 100% like massively in the lead right now.
This man's on a mission.
He wants the Clockwork, but...
He wants it. I don't know if he's going to get it. March?
He actually just bashed him out, I think. Oh, the Glimmer.
The Glimmer from Fly, and I think this is, well, yeah. Okay. That's a way to give Alina a godlike streak. And that's March down for 40 seconds.
I don't know if that was a tilt charge or what, but it did not seem like an optimal play. Like, when you have to charge all the way across the map to find somebody, I guess... From his perspective, maybe he thought that the rest of Cole just like TP'd back to base or something, and he was just playing it a little bit greedy by farming a 1 or 2 extra camps, and he thought that he could get away with that, maybe. But at this point, you got to try to go for something, I guess, right?
I get it. You do. You need.
You're
some
really
kind of
far behind.
Yeah. Yeah, and the grass are really starting to steer off now.
It's
over 20,000.
It's not looking great for MVP. And I think that compLexity have shown that they are definitely stable enough to compete here at the International.
Top lane, March is going to be charging forward to Zizzy. He's got still a fair bit to go. And he's just going to try and move back in. Now with the Rupture, they want to hold him in place. But, I mean, he's got BKB, he's got lifesteal as well. He's got Moon here backing him up. Straight onto kill.
Oh, God.
Oh, where's your BKB now, Shadow Fiend? March finally turns up to the party, but I just have a feeling it's a little bit too late. No one is falling on the side of compLexity. MVP have lost. There's your Echo Slap, but what did it do? It looked like it even gave them health because the Guardian Grease being popped there by Zafreak. Nuts goes down. Ultra kill
GG.
for Swindlemelons. And GG, what a game. 42-20. First game was a bit of a tight one, but this one, compLexity just proving to be in a totally different league.
I really consider compLexity to have outdrafted them in this game. Like, if you look at the hero composition, Bloodseeker and Spiritbreaker against heroes who specialize at dealing with melee heroes, like Gyrocopter, even as a range.
Look at the scoreboard.
When you go to point-blank range, you're up against Rocket Barrage, you're up against Call Down, you're up against Cogs, Battery Assault, Tusk, Lina Stun, like all of these abilities that punish close proximity melee heroes, right? So I don't really think there was ever a way for both of these heroes to function. If it was just Seeker or just Spiritbreaker, I think it would have been a lot easier to execute. But they had so many situations where March would go in. I mean, for crying out loud, he ended the game 1-9. Like, that just shows how hard it was for him to be able to get in anywhere and make things happen, because there's so many ways for compLexity to disrupt that chain of initiation that MVP were looking for. Like, their initiation was quite literally, we will run at you. compLexity are amazing with their heroes at dealing with that. So, I don't know. I think that MVP maybe just outdrafted. They definitely got outplayed as well. I think compLexity brought their A game here in game number 2. But, of course, this is a best-of-2 series, which means we're going to be moving on to the next one.
This is it over, and this is pretty big for compLexity as well,
Yep.
in the sense that, I mean, a draw is always nice, but 1 point compared to 3 points in the group stage, that's a big difference. So the fact that compLexity going in first series, taking themselves 3 tasty points, they're going to be very happy with that, and it's deserved points as well. What a series, what a performance there from the team. And we won't be seeing compLexity again on this stream today. We will be seeing Phoenix again today.
Yep.
And they're playing Na'Vi. Arguably, maybe a tougher match than...
I think it will be.
They're going to have to up their game. They've got, I believe, pretty much a series break, in which they'll be able to step back and kind of rethink their plans. But they're going to have to bring something different to the matchup against Na'Vi. But compLexity, hats off to them. They do indeed take the game. And we'll be interesting to follow them, see how they do against the rest of the teams. It was always going to be potentially the easier game of the group, in the sense you're playing up against a team that comes through the wild cards. But nonetheless, compLexity there with a stellar performance. And, well, that is it for us. We will be back very shortly with the next series of the day, which is going to be Cloud9 versus Na'Vi here on this stream. I'm not too sure if the other game's going on at the moment. Can I hear Toby?
Nope.
I can't hear Toby. I think they might have finished.
Could be.
They could be, or maybe Toby's having a breather. We'll see. But Cloud9 will be over on our stream after they finish their match on the main stream. So we'll see you guys very shortly.